Chapter 1206. Distraction, Dad. I'm going out. Tang Yin turned around to leave. However, Lin Yi smiled and put away the silver needles on Tang Juqing's leg. Okay, Uncle Tang, stand up and take a walk. That's it. Tang Juqing was surprised. He didn't think that talking to Lin Yi would divert his attention. Unknowingly, the treatment was completed. Tang Juqing didn't feel any pain. Tang Yin realized that Lin Yi was talking nonsense with her father to distract her father and lessen his pain. She couldn't blame Lin Yi, but it was too embarrassing. Tang Juqing got off the bed and prepared to walk around the room twice. In fact, he could already walk slowly with his legs. Although he was limping a little, it was fine to walk slowly. However, this time, after Tang Juqing got off the bed, he almost tripped and fell when he walked away. Dad! Tang Yin was shocked and quickly ran over to support Tang Juqing. However, she was confused. Dad, what's wrong? Wasn't there a problem with your left leg? Why does it seem like there's a problem with your right leg now? I don't know. Tang Juqing was confused. It was his left leg before, but now it was his right leg. Did the disease not get cured and move to another place? Tang Yin quickly helped Tang Juqing to walk 2 more steps, but Tang Juqing's steps were still uneven. If it weren't for Tang Yin's support, he would have fallen to the ground already. Uncle Tang, you still don't think of yourself as a normal person. Lin Yi couldn't help but smile at the scene in front of him. You're still using your left leg when you're walking, but now that both your legs are working normally, you're using one leg and not the other, and the 2 legs aren't evenly distributed. It's only natural that you can't walk stably. Oh, is that so? Tang Juqing was surprised. He carefully thought about how he walked just now, and it did seem to be the case. However, he didn't do it on purpose. It was just a habit. He used to walk this way, so he still walked this way subconsciously. It was no wonder that he was in deep trouble. It was because of this reason. Thinking of this, Tang Juqing tried to use the same amount of strength to walk. Sure enough, he didn't stagger like before. Instead, he slowly became normal. Tang Yin covered her mouth in shock. Dad, it looks like your leg's healed. Well, it seems like there's really no problem. Huh? After taking 2 steps, Tang Juqing laughed happily. It's done, it's really done. Of course it's fine. Once you get used to it, you'll be no different from a normal person. Lin Yi smiled. Yin, let's go out and take a look. Xiaofan should be here too, right? Kong Xiaobo and Xiaofan went to Xiaofan's house first. After settling down there, they went to Tang Yin's house. At this moment, they were waiting in the living room. They knew that Lin Yi was treating Tang Juqing, so they didn't disturb him. When the bedroom door opened, Lin Yi walked in front while Tang Juqing and Tang Yin walked behind. Although Tang Juqing walked very slowly, he didn't need Tang Yin's support. However, Tang Yin was afraid that he would fall, so she still protected him by his side. But even so, it gave Kong Xiaobo and Xiaofan a huge shock. Tang Juqing's leg was even more serious than Xiaofan's. He was the kind of person who couldn't get up from the bed. But after witnessing a miracle step by step, Tang Juqing could finally walk steadily. No one would believe it if they said that it wasn't Lin Yi's doing. Kong Xiaobo stood up and looked excited. Uncle Tang, congratulations. Your leg is all healed. It's done. It's all healed. You can finally stand up and walk. Ha! Tang Juqing was really happy. At the same time, he was proud to have such a powerful son-in-law like Lin Yi. It was all thanks to Lin Yi's hard work that his family had gone from a poor family in the slums to a well-off family now. Most importantly, Lin Yi still doted on his daughter. This was what made Tang Juqing feel the most gratified. Kong Xiaobo's excitement was actually for Xiaofan. If Tang Juqing's leg was healed, then Xiaofan's leg would naturally be saved. Xiaobo, bring Xiaofan to the bedroom. Lin Yi looked at Kong Xiaobo's excited expression and smiled. Boss, aren't you going to rest for a while? Although Kong Xiaobo was anxious, he saw that Lin Yi had just treated Tang Juqing's leg. It should be tiring, so he should rest for a while, right? It's fine. Looking at your anxious expression, I'm afraid you can't wait, right? Lin Yi smiled. Not really. Kong Xiaobo was a little embarrassed, but he still brought Xiaofan to the bedroom. Uncle Tang, walk around by yourself first. You'll be fine if you walk slowly. I'll go and treat Xiaofan, Lin Yi said to Tang Juqing. All right, don't worry about me. You go do what you need to do. After Tang Juqing walked a few laps, he gradually grasped the technique of using his strength. The more he walked, the more agile he became. But then again, this leg was originally his, so it was quite easy to control. He didn't need to practice much, and he was already walking very well. This was also thanks to Tang Juqing's recovery training. Although he was limping, he had already recovered the muscle strength in his leg, which was why he was so skilled now. After entering the bedroom, Lin Yi looked at Xiaofan, and he was a little troubled. Most of the nerves in the leg were concentrated at the base of the thigh. It didn't matter when he was treating Tang Juqing. Tang Juqing was a man, so he only needed to wear underwear. In front of Lin Yi and his daughter, he didn't need to cover up too much. But Xiaofan was different. She was a girl, and she didn't have a close relationship with Lin Yi. It would be difficult for her to wear underwear in front of Lin Yi. Boss, what's wrong? Kong Xiaobo saw Lin Yi frowning, and he thought that Lin Yi was a little tired. So he quickly said, Boss, you should rest for a while. It's fine. Since you got the solution, isn't it just a matter of time for Xiaofan to recover? You don't have to rush. No, Xiaobo, you've misunderstood. Lin Yi waved his hand and said, during the treatment, you have to take off your pants, leaving only underwear. Xiaofan is a girl. Isn't this too inconvenient? Chapter 12:07. Xiao Xiao fainted again. Xiaobo, what kind of nonsense are you talking about? Lin Yi didn't know whether to laugh or cry after hearing Kong Xiaobo's words. I'm not talking about what you are thinking. I'm just worried that Xiaofan will be embarrassed. What's the point of saying so much? Tang Yin didn't know what to say as well. She knew that Lin Yi wouldn't have any dirty thoughts toward Xiaofan. She heard that when Lin Yi was treating Meng Yao was naked. Lin Yi didn't do anything to Meng Yao, so why would he have any dirty thoughts toward Xiaofan? So, Tang Yin trusted Lin Yi very much. She said to Xiaofan, Xiaofan, I'll help you take off your pants. And Xiaofan nodded. Although she was a little shy, she knew that Lin Yi was doing this out of kindness. He wouldn't have any dirty thoughts towards her. She and Tang Yin weren't on the same level. And with Tang Yin by her side, Lin Yi would have any dirty thoughts toward her unless he was blind. With that thought, Xiaofan stopped being shy and unbuckled her belt. With Tang Yin's help, she took off her pants, revealing her fair legs. It was quite sexy and beautiful. Tang Yin and Xiaofan sneaked a glance at Lin Yi and realized that his eyes were clear without any lust. He was seriously observing the position of the needle. On the other hand, Kong Xiaobo looked like he was drooling. This made Tang Yin smile, but Xiaofan was helpless. She glared at Kong Xiaobo and said, Can you be more serious? Hee, I was thinking, wifey, if your legs are healed, wouldn't you become a first-class beauty? I really picked you up. Kong Xiaobo laughed. Xiaofan turned her head and ignored him. Although Xiaofan and Kong Xiaobo had been together for a period of time, the two of them didn't cross the boundary. It wasn't that Kong Xiaobo didn't want to, but he felt that it wasn't the right time. Although the knot in Xiaofan's heart was untied, her leg injury wasn't completely healed. In this situation, Xiaofan definitely wouldn't feel comfortable in her heart. Therefore, Kong Xiaobo was drooling over Xiaofan's exposed legs. Stop laughing. Go hug your wife and tell her some jokes or something. Lin Yi instructed Kong Xiaobo. It will be very painful when I insert the needle. Distract her attention. Oh, okay. Kong Xiaobo heard Lin Yi's words and quickly walked over. He hugged Xiaofan and began to tell her jokes. There was a person called Zhong Pingliang. He fell in love with the campus belle, Chu Mengyao. Kong Xiaobo began to tell Xiaofan about Zhong Pingliang's embarrassing past. These were all things that happened in his class. Xiaofan didn't know about it, but she didn't go to high school. She listened with great interest. Lin Yi inserted the needle quickly. Xiaofan grimaced in pain, but she was distracted by Kong Xiaobo, so the treatment went smoothly. There were many rumors about Lin Yi in school, but Tang Yin didn't like Lin Yi and disliked Lin Yi, so she didn't care about the rumors about Lin Yi. Later on, she got together with Lin Yi, and Lin Yi kept a low profile, so the rumors about him decreased. So, she didn't know that Lin Yi peed all over Zhong Pingliang's face in the toilet, and that he fought with Heibao Bro during the exercise break. Now that she heard from Kong Xiaobo, even Tang Yin couldn't help but laugh. I didn't think that Zhong Pingliang would be so unlucky. Tang Yin sighed. However, any bad guy would be unlucky if they met Lin Yi. Didn't Zhou Ruoming, Zhao Qibing, and the others get taught a lesson by Lin Yi? Haha. Lin Yi laughed and put away all the needles on Xiaofun's leg. All right, try walking. It's done? Xiaofun's forehead was covered in sweat from the pain. Although she hoped that Lin Yi would finish the treatment soon, she also hoped that Lin Yi could cure her in one go. She wanted to become a normal person. Too much. Xiaobo, try walking with her. Hold her, don't let her fall. Lin Yi instructed. As soon as Lin Yi finished his sentence, Lin Yi's phone rang. Lin Yi took out his phone and looked at the caller ID. What he saw made him pause. The phone call was from Feng Tianlong. Why would he call him at this time? Hello, Uncle Feng. Lin Yi quickly picked up. Where are you? Xiao fainted again. Can you come as soon as possible? The doctors here said that they can't do anything. Feng Tianlong's voice changed, filled with sorrow and anxiety. Where is Xiao? Lin Yi was shocked. Although he knew that this day wasn't far away, he didn't expect it to come so soon. I'm at her apartment. Can you come now? I'll get Li to pick you up. Feng Tianlong asked nervously. No need, I'll go now. Don't worry, Uncle Feng. I'll be there soon. She'll be fine. Lin Yi hung up the phone, his eyebrows furrowed. He told Tianlong that Xiao would be fine, but he didn't have any confidence at all. Lin Yi, what's wrong? What happened? Tang Yun's heart tightened when she saw the change in Lin Yi's expression. Yeah, boss, what's wrong? Kong Xiaobo asked. Xiao fainted again. I need to go check on her. Lin Yi said, Yin, help me tell Ani that I won't be eating here tonight. Tell her I'm sorry. I'll be leaving first. Wait, I'll go with you. Tang Yin said worriedly, worried that something might happen to Xiao. That's okay. Lin Yi saw the deep concern in Tang Yun's eyes. He knew that she wasn't faking it. She really was worried about Xiao. Logically speaking, for most women, if a girl who tried to steal their boyfriend died, then so be it. They would be overjoyed, so why would they care? But Tang Yin was different. She really cared about Xiao, just like when Meng Yao was poisoned last time. She was really worried about Meng Yao. And these weren't fake at all. They were her own thoughts. Lin Yi felt that he was very lucky to have such a generous and kind girlfriend. Boss, I want to go too. Kong Xiaobo and Xiao had a good relationship. When Xiao wanted to chase Lin Yi, he'd helped her plan before. So when he heard that Xiao fainted, Kong Xiaobo wanted to go as well. Chapter 12:08. It's very strange, all right. Kong Xiaobo nodded and didn't say anything else. He had to listen to Lin Yi. After leaving the bedroom, Tang Yin said something to her dad and ran out with Lin Yi. They went downstairs and got in the car. Tang Yin finally let out a breath of relief. Lin Yi, you have a way to save Xiao, right? I'm not sure yet, we'll see. Lin Yi smiled bitterly. Tang Yin couldn't help but fall silent after hearing Lin Yi's words. How could Tang Yin not understand what Lin Yi meant? Lin Yi meant that he wasn't confident. If it was something he was confident about, like when Lin Yi promised to cure her dad, he would definitely be able to cure her. But now Lin Yi said he'll see. So Tang Yin knew that Xiao was really in danger this time. Lin Yi ran through a couple of red lights and soon arrived at Xiao's district. Lin Yi and Tang Yin weren't unfamiliar with this place. After parking the car, Lin Yi rushed into Xiao's house. Tianlong opened the door for Lin Yi with a haggard face, and Lin Yi asked anxiously, How is it, Uncle Feng? This is Xiao's doctor, Head Lu. Head Lu, tell Lil Yi about Xiao's situation, Tianlong said to a doctor in a white coat not far from him. Yes, Mr. Feng. Head Lu nodded. He didn't know what Lin Yi did, but he knew who Tianlong was. He didn't hide it and said directly, Miss Feng's illness this time was very sudden. We've tried our best, but all the rescue measures were useless. Miss Feng's vitals aren't very good, and her physiological functions are deteriorating. Let me see. Lin Yi listened to Lu's words as he walked quickly to Xiao Xiao's sickbed. There were several tubes and wires connected to Xiao Xiao's body, and there were all sorts of instruments working. Lin Yi frowned at the sight. Remove all these things. Remove it. Chief Surgeon Lu was stunned. Listen to Yi. Take them all off. Tianlong didn't know what Lin Yi meant, but since Lin Yi could save Xiao Xiao last time, he should be able to do the same this time. He just needed to listen to him. Okay, Mr. Feng. Director Lu got Tianlong's approval and started removing the wires and tubes from Xiao Xiao's body with the other nurses. Tang Yun looked at the pale-faced Xiao Xiao lying on the sickbed, her heart aching. She had expected this day to come, but now that it had come, she still felt bad. Lin Yi, can you save her? I'm begging you. Tang Yun looked at Xiao Xiao and couldn't bear to see her like this. After all this time, she had treated Xiao Xiao as her best friend. If anything happened to Xiao Xiao, Tang Yun would be very sad. Tang Yun's begging stunned Feng Tianlong. Other people didn't know, but they thought that Tang Yun was Xiao Xiao's best friend, so it was reasonable for them to worry for her. But Tianlong knew that his daughter was Tang Yun's love rival. According to the agreement, Tang Yun was the main wife, and Xiao Xiao was the second wife. But no one would want to have a second wife, right? But Tang Yun was worried for Xiao Xiao, and judging from her expression, she wasn't faking it. What kind of person was Feng Tianlong? He was a secret agent, and his ability to read people was top-notch. If Tang Yun was pretending to be nice to him, Feng Tianlong would be able to tell with one look. But all he saw was sincerity and anxiousness. There was no pretense. At this moment, Tianlong was very touched and respectful. This girl was really generous and kind. It was Lin Yi's fortune to have a girlfriend like this. Compared to his daughter, he was probably a little more selfish, right? Isn't she my girlfriend too? I'll try my best. Looking at Tang Yun, Lin Yi didn't know whether to laugh or cry, but he still said seriously, "Okay." Tang Yun nodded. Lin Yi held Xiao Xiao's hand and said to Tianlong, "Don't let anyone disturb me." "Okay, I understand." Feng Tianlong nodded and immediately ordered Li Yifeng behind him. "Little Li, guard the door. Don't let anyone come in and disturb us." "Yes." Li Yifeng traced the gun at his waist and solemnly nodded. Then, he quickly stood guard at the door. Lin Yi channeled the art of dragon mastery. He had a taste of Xiao Xiao's power last time. So this time, in order to prevent his energy from being sucked dry by Xiao Xiao, Lin Yi went into sleep mode and entered the jade space, using the energy in the space to support Xiao Xiao's absorption. Lin Yi's prediction was correct. Just like last time, as soon as he channeled the art of dragon mastery, the energy in the jade space surged into Xiao Xiao's body through his hand. But this time, Lin Yi had a little better. After all, the energy in the jade space was endless. But the next moment, Lin Yi was shocked, because Lin Yi realized that the energy in the jade space wasn't enough for Xiao Xiao at all, and the energy in his body was flowing into Xiao Xiao's body bit by bit. This was the first time Lin Yi had encountered such a situation. Whether it was treating General Wei Wu or helping Faubert and Lingshan level up, he could transfer the energy into their bodies directly through the jade space. There had never been a situation like this. He felt that Xiao Xiao's body was strange, but he didn't expect it to be this strange. Lin Yi's face changed. "Jiao Lao, what's going on?" "Strange. Extremely strange." Elder Jiao was also deep in thought. Her body is so strange, but it doesn't seem to have much effect even if you send in all that energy. Her life is about to run out. No amount of energy will help. It's just barely enough to keep her alive. It seems like it's impossible for her to wake up. "What do you mean?" Lin Yi heard Jiao Yazi's words and froze. "Useless? How is it useless?" "Jiao Lao, you're saying that she's at the end of her life, and there's no use this time?" Chapter 1209. There's no way. If that's the case, then I'll try no matter what. Lin Yi heard Jiao Yazi's words and relaxed a little. Since Xiao Xiao could be saved last time, then it shouldn't be a problem this time as well. After all, Jiao Yazi said that his main body wasn't here, and his senses weren't very accurate. With that thought, he let out a breath of relief. No matter what, it was fine as long as there was hope. Even if he had to transfer energy to Xiao Xiao every few days, as long as he had the Jade Space, he'd still have all the energy he needed. The energy in Lin Yi's body was flowing very slowly, but more than half of it went into Xiao Xiao's body, and the energy in the Jade Space was flowing into Xiao Xiao's body endlessly. Lin Yi was a little shocked. It seemed like Xiao Xiao didn't absorb all the energy in his body last time, but she was forced to stop because there was no more energy left. Time passed, but Xiao Xiao's body didn't stop absorbing Lin Yi's energy, and it didn't seem like it was slowing down at all. It was still rushing through Lin Yi's body. Half an hour, 1 hour, 2 hours, 5 hours. The energy in Lin Yi's body was flowing slowly, but it was getting lesser and lesser. It looked like it was going to be sucked dry by Xiao Xiao soon. This made Lin Yi grit his teeth and hold on, but at the same time, he was panicking. Jiao Lao, what's going on? Her body seems to need energy non-stop, and it doesn't seem like it's going to stop at all. Lin Yi's voice was panicking. I don't know, but it's weird, really weird. Her body has been absorbing the energy you're sending to her, but the energy doesn't seem to stay in her body. I don't know where it went. Jiao Yazi had a worried look on his face as well. It seemed like he didn't know what was going on with Xiao Xiao either. The last trace of energy in Lin Yi's body was sucked dry. Lin Yi knew that things might be different from what he had expected. According to his calculations, Xiao Xiao should have woken up long ago. Last time, all he did was transfer his own energy to Xiao Xiao, and she woke up right away. But now, not only did he transfer his own energy to Xiao Xiao, but he also transferred a large amount of energy from the Jade Space to Xiao Xiao. To put it bluntly, if this energy was given to Faubert or Lingshan, they'd have leveled up a long time ago. But Xiao Xiao was still lying on the bed, not moving at all. Lin Yi was sleeping, but he could sense what was going on outside. Xiao Xiao wasn't awake yet. With that thought, Lin Yi subconsciously stopped the art of dragon mastery. He couldn't keep transferring energy like this. His chi went into Xiao Xiao's body, but it didn't seem to stay at all. When he checked Xiao Xiao's body, she was still a normal person. There weren't any energy waves like General Wei Wu was familiar with. Lin Yi stopped the art of dragon mastery, and the energy transferred into Xiao Xiao's body stopped as well. Xiao Xiao's body couldn't absorb the energy from Lin Yi's body anymore, so she stopped. Lin Yi didn't have the time to recover his strength first. After all, Xiao Xiao's situation was more important. Recovering his strength later wasn't a problem, since it wouldn't affect him much in the short term. Lin Yi opened his eyes, and Tang Yun and Tian Long, who had been paying attention to Lin Yi's expression, quickly walked closer and asked, "How is it?" "It's weird. According to what happened last time, Xiao Xiao returned to normal after I transferred my chi over, but this time I used up all the chi in my body, and there's no effect." Lin Yi smiled bitterly, not daring to talk about the Jade Space. After all, the Jade Space wasn't something that could be easily revealed to others. So, Lin Yi only mentioned himself. Even so, Tianlong was shocked. "What? You gave all your chi to Xiao Xiao?" Tianlong's eyes widened. "Yes." Lin Yi smiled and didn't suppress his strength. He started the chant of the art of dragon mastery, and the weak chi in the air was activated by Lin Yi. At this moment, Tianlong could clearly feel Lin Yi's strength. It could be said that Lin Yi had no strength at all, other than the chi in his body that was slightly stronger than a normal person. There was nothing else. You lost all your strength? You lost all your strength for Xiao Xiao?" Tianlong looked at Lin Yi in disbelief. One had to know that Tianlong was a practitioner, and he knew how important strength was to a practitioner. Lin Yi, on the other hand, was sacrificing all his strength just to save Xiao Xiao. Just how deep did their relationship have to be to do something like this? Tianlong knew that he could do it because he was Xiao Xiao's father. The power of a father's love was boundless. But what was Lin Yi? Why would Lin Yi do this? Was it just because Xiao Xiao was his girlfriend for a few days? Their relationship wasn't that deep to the point where he was willing to sacrifice himself for her, right? "I can recover, and you don't have to worry about Feng sleeping." Lin Yi waved his hand. Now, we need to think about Xiao Xiao. Why is it the same as last time? It worked last time, but not this time? Tianlong and Tang Yin looked at each other. They knew that they couldn't help Lin Yi, so they didn't say anything. They just waited for Lin Yi to make his next move. Lin Yi was panicking as well. He could do it before, but now he couldn't. What was going on? Lin Yi couldn't figure it out. He touched Xiao Xiao and checked the life force in her body. Sadly, Lin Yi realized that he didn't know where his energy went. There was no energy in Xiao Xiao's body at all. That boundless energy of his, if absorbed, would be enough to create an Earth class or even a Sky class. But Xiao Xiao's body was still empty. It seemed like he couldn't do it anymore. He had to call for help. Tianlong had said that he brought Xiao Xiao's mother to old Lin, and the old man couldn't do anything about it. But after so many years, the old man might be able to do something. Even if he couldn't do anything, at least there was a chance to save her life. With that thought, Lin Yi picked up his phone and called the old man, not bothering to hide from Tianlong and Tang Yin. Answer it quickly, answer it quickly. What are you doing, old man? Chapter 12:10. Frigid Chief finally. After a few rings, old Lin's lazy voice came from the other side. Is this Lily? Why did you call this old man? Did you see Ergun? Are you all right? Old man, let's not talk about this. I have something urgent to talk to you about. Lin Yi interrupted the old man. He was worried about Xiao Xiao's safety. He didn't have time to talk to the old man. What's the matter? What is it? Did something happen on your side? The old man's face tensed up, his tone turning from lazy to serious. There's a strange disease that you've seen before, and you've treated it before, but you couldn't do anything about it. Do you have a new way? Lin, he didn't know how to explain it to the old man. He didn't have the time to describe Xiao Xiao's condition, and even if he did, he wouldn't be able to explain it clearly. After all, Lin, he didn't know much about Xiao Xiao's condition. What strange disease? What are you talking about? Lin Yi's words confused the old man. He didn't know what disease he was talking about. All right, I'll give the phone to Feng Tianlong, and he'll talk to you. Lin, he didn't want to waste time. Every second was precious, and he couldn't waste any more time. It was better to let Feng Tianlong talk to the old man, and it would be easier than doing it himself. Feng Tianlong paused when he saw Lin. He passed the phone over, but he still picked it up. Hello, I'm Feng Tianlong. Feng Tianlong. Feng Tianlong. Old Lin mumbled the name, and his thoughts opened up like a tidal wave. It was as if he had returned to his prime. That time, that friendship was irreplaceable. Hello. May I know who you are? Feng Tianlong was a bit weird. The voice was familiar, but also strange. He only said his name and didn't say anything. Feng, I'm Lin Dongfang. Old Lin sighed. I didn't think that Lily would be by your side. Elder Lin, it's really you. Feng Tianlong fell into a state of excitement. Elder Lin, where are you? I heard that you went into seclusion. After that, there was no news of you and Captain. Let's not talk about the old days. Let's talk about you first. Didn't Su already leave? Why? Oh, could it be your daughter? Lin Dongfang pinched his fingers together and calculated. He couldn't help but think to himself that time was merciless. In the blink of an eye, almost 20 years had passed. Did that mean that Tianlong's daughter was at the end of her life? Lin Dongfang felt guilty for not being able to find a cure for Tianlong's wife's illness. However, Tianlong's wife's illness wasn't a common one. Old Lin had never seen or even heard of it. Therefore, all these years, although they had been researching, they had not found a solution. He remembered how he promised Feng Tianlong's wife, Xiao Su, that he would find a way to cure her daughter, but after so many years, there was still no progress. Yes, it's my daughter, Xiao Xiao. Lil, he is treating her now. Elder Lin, do you have a solution? Tianlong didn't think that he would meet Lin Dongfang at this time. If Lin Dongfang had a solution, then things might really turn around. How about this? You give the phone to Lily. I'll talk to him. Old Lin sighed. He didn't have the heart to tell Tianlong that he had no solution. He could only let him give the phone to Lin. Okay, please wait. Tianlong knew that this wasn't the time to reminisce. Saving Xiao Xiao was more important. So Tianlong gave the phone back to Lin. Elder Lin is looking for you. Old man, how is it? Do you know what the illness is now? Lin E hurriedly asked. Is there a solution? No, or at the moment. Old Lin sighed. I've read many ancient books about this illness, and I've visited many people. Until now, there's only a shallow theory. Oh, what is it? Tell me. Lin Yi's heart sank when he heard that there was no solution, but he didn't give up. He hoped that the old man could tell him more about Xiao Xiao's illness. Lin Yi wanted to see if he could find a solution. After all, he still had Elder Jiao. When the time came, he could discuss it with him. Who knows, there might really be a solution. How do I put it? Xiao Susu's illness is similar to being poisoned, but I'm not sure if it's a poison or not. It looks similar, Old Lin said. When I visited Xiao Susu's hometown, I asked Feng Tianlong to get her family tree through the investigation department, and I found a problem. Xiao Susu? What problem? Lin Yi quickly asked. Xiao Susu is Feng Tianlong's wife, Old Lin said. Xiao Susu's ancestor should be a guardian of a sect, similar to the high priest. Her ancestors have been guardians for generations, but for some reason, her branch left the sect, or maybe the sect was destroyed, so they lost their practitioner's arts, and they lost the way to channel the cold energy in their body. That's why this tragedy happened. Cold energy? Lenny didn't expect there to be so many stories behind this. He couldn't help but be surprised. Then what should I do now? Old man, what did you mean when you said that there was no solution for now? Does that mean there's a possibility of a cure? That's right, it's the cold Yin Qi. This cold Yin Qi weakens when it meets strong opponents. If there's a suitable cultivation method and a suitable cultivation method, this cold Yin Qi will slowly be controlled by the cultivator and become a type of true Qi to enhance one's own strength. In other words, when a strong practitioner is the main force, the cold energy is the support, but Feng Tianlong's wife and daughter, even the generations before them, all had the cold energy as the main force, and they were the support. So naturally, their bodies would have problems. Old Lin explained, this cold energy is similar to the poison in Air Gooden's body. It will devour the nutrients in the body. As one grows older, the colding energy will also grow. When one reaches the age of 20, the colding energy will be completely formed. At that point, the body's nutrients will be devoured. Apart from the cold Yin energy devouring the body's vitality, there is no other possibility. Chapter 12:11. Nothing will work. But Tang Yin seemed to have the same feeling as well. So Lin, he didn't pay much attention to it, but now that he thought about it, there must be a problem. But Tang Yin didn't have a problem? Or maybe Tang Yin was born with cold hands. As for a cure, there is, but it can't be done right now. Old Lin sighed. This is fate. What is it? Hurry up and tell me. Don't just sigh over there. Old man, why are you taking so long? Lin Yi said helplessly. First, find a cultivator who has a Yang Heart Sutra and use his true Qi to slowly neutralize the Yin Qi in her body. Even though it can't completely solve the problem, it can achieve the goal of prolonging her life. But this person must be at least sky class. Old Lin said, plus this method has its limitations. In the beginning, a sky class can suppress it, but as they grow older, the cold energy will grow stronger and stronger, and suppressing it will become more and more difficult. In the end, it might not work at all. Old man, I practice the art of dragon mastery. Isn't that a Yang practitioner's arts? Then my pure Qi should work on Xiao Xiao, right? Lenny was thinking about how his pure Qi worked on his Xiao Xiao the first time. So why didn't it work the second time? Could it be that there was something that he had overlooked? Your art of dragon mastery is like that, but don't try it. You might lose your life if you do. Old Lin warned after hearing Lin Yi's words. Your strength is too low. It won't work. If you put your pure Qi into her body right now, you'll be sucked dry, and all your Qi will become a feast for the cold energy. Ugh, I've been sucked dry already. Lin, he said awkwardly. What? Already sucked dry? Old Lin paused, his tone growing anxious. Is what you're saying true? Lin, he was stunned by Old Lin's anxious tone. In Lin Yi's impression, Old Man Lin had always been calm and composed. He was rarely anxious. Even when Lin Yi was injured, Old Man Lin wasn't anxious. He only asked Lin E to go to the West Star Mountain Village to seek refuge. But this time, Old Man Lin was really anxious. Lin E was very touched by this strong sense of camaraderie. Don't be fooled by Old Man Lin's nonchalant appearance. When something really happened, Old Man Lin was still the one who cared about him the most. It's true. My current strength is 0, Lin E said. Then you're not dead yet? Is it a human or a ghost? Old Lin hurriedly asked. He's not dead. He's alive and well. Lin E didn't know whether to laugh or cry. It's good that you're still alive. Old Lin heaved a sigh of relief. If you lose your strength, you could train again. If you die, you'll lose everything. Thank goodness. You didn't die right away. Lin E was a little speechless. I've experienced it before, too. Last time in Yanjing, my chi was sucked dry, but it was a blessing in disguise, and I broke through after training again. I think I'll be able to break through again if I train again. I'm roughly at the bottleneck of Mystic mid-phase peak. I should be able to break through in one go. Fuck. Old Lin's eyes widened after hearing Lin Yi's words. You're playing with her to level up? That scared the hell out of me. It's not really leveling up. It's just that I'm about to break through the bottleneck. Without breaking, there can be no construction. It's just easier to break through the bottleneck. Lin E smiled bitterly. Forget it. You can't right now. Old Man Lin said firmly, even if you refine the true chi in your body and transfer it back to her, repeating the cycle, it will still be useless. Your true chi will become a feast for the yin chi, and it will only make the yin chi stronger and stronger. I see. Lin, he was troubled. Did he do something bad out of kindness? He put so much chi into Xiao Xiao's body, and not only did it not benefit her, it was actually harmful. He couldn't deal with a sky class with the extreme yang arts right now, and the old man said that this was just a way to extend his lifespan. He could use it now, but he couldn't use it forever. There would be trouble in the future. And so, Lin E turned his attention to the second method. Old man, since there's a first method, doesn't that mean there's another way? There is. Legend has it that there's a fruit called the fire spirit's fruit. It's a fruit of pure yang, containing the extreme yang qi of the heavens and earth. Eating one can suppress the yin qi in one's body for tens of years. Of course, it varies from person to person. Some people may be suppressed for the rest of their lives, but some people can only suppress it for 8 to 10 years. However, this is a more stable method. Old Lin said, at least it is more stable and safer than the first method. Fire spirit's fruit? I've never heard of it. What is that? Lin E paused. He'd never heard of something like this before. I don't know either. Old Lin's words were like a bucket of cold water splashed on his head. Ugh. Lin E wanted to curse. Don't know what you're talking about? Aren't you just spouting nonsense? But Lin E suppressed his anger and asked, Old man, if you don't know, then why do you say that? I've only read about this fruit in some ancient medicine compendiums. It's a great medicine to remove the yin qi, but I don't know what it looks like or where to find it. Old Lin sighed. If I could find it, I would have done it a long time ago. Why would I wait until now? Lin E thought about what Old Lin said and felt that it made sense. If he knew where to look, he would have done it a long time ago. He was in too much of a rush and forgot about this. So this method is just a legend? It's impossible to achieve? Lin E said, troubled. Yes, unless you can find a fire spirit's fruit and give it to her. Old Lin nodded. Is there a third way? Lin E asked. A third way? I guess there is. Find a top-tier yin qi practitioner's chant for her, and when she reaches sky class, perhaps she'll be able to guide the yin qi in her body for her own use. Old Lin said after some thought. That's... Lin, he was speechless. Putting aside how hard it was to find a top-level cold practitioner's arts, even if he did find one, he wouldn't be able to make much progress in this kind of weather. Even if he did make some progress, it'd still be extremely difficult to reach sky class. Plus, the most important thing was that Xiao Xiao was unconscious. How was she supposed to train? And so Lin, he had to say, isn't that obvious? Chapter 12:12. What did I miss? Lin didn't know what to say. Indeed, Old Lin had said from the start that he couldn't do anything. He was the one who was too stubborn. But Lin, he didn't give up. That's not right, old man. Xiao Xiao fainted before, and I used my qi to treat her. She did wake up, didn't she? I almost forgot about that if you didn't mention it. Old Lin's expression turned serious as he said, That's absolutely impossible. Your current level of true qi will only harm her body and not benefit her. So think about it carefully. Did something else happen the last time she woke up? She shouldn't be of any use. You've been misled. Misled? Lin Yi paused, recalling the situation in detail. Xiao Xiao had fainted, and he'd carried her to the bed, channeling the art of dragon mastery. She'd woken up not long after, and that was the process. Nothing else had happened. Yes, I think you've been misled. Old Lin said with certainty. I've researched this disease for a much longer time than you. I don't know what's going on, but it's definitely not because of your qi. Ugh, I really can't think of anything. Lin, he was troubled. Success was right in front of him, but he couldn't figure it out. Lin, he knew that he might have overlooked something, but what was it that he had overlooked? I can't help you with that. You'll have to think about it yourself. Old Lin said faintly. But let me ask, you seem to care a lot about this Xiao Xiao's life and death. Yeah, she's my girlfriend. Lin Yi said with certainty. Oh, Old Lin heard Lin Yi's words. This sounded a little weird, but he didn't say anything. Good luck. Lin Yi hung up, his mind a mess. The information Old Lin gave him was useful, giving him a more detailed understanding of Xiao Xiao's body, but it wasn't of any use at all. It wasn't of any help to the situation right now. How is it? Does Elder Lin have any ideas? Feng Tianlong waited for Lin Yi to hang up before asking anxiously. In fact, he had already guessed the answer from Lin Yi's disappointed and anxious expression, but he didn't give up and tried again. Lin Yi shook his head slightly. There was no need to lie to Tianlong about something like this. Seeing that Xiao Xiao was in a life-and-death situation, there was no point in lying. It would only make Tianlong more disappointed. Feng Tianlong sighed. He had already expected this outcome. Uncle Feng, let me think about it. Lin Yi waved his hand, telling Tianlong not to rush. Lin, he was thinking about that day in the hotel in Yanjing, how he did it with Xiao Xiao. Tianlong nodded and looked at Lin Yi nervously. Lin Yi closed his eyes and carefully recalled the scene, but no matter how he thought about it, he couldn't find anything special. Jiao Lao, help me remember that day in the hotel in Yanjing. What happened before and after? Help me think from start to finish. Don't miss a single detail. Lin Yi asked Jiao Lao for help. Ugh, okay. Elder Jiao said after some thought. That day, Xiao Xiao went to take a shower, and you waited for her in the room. She didn't move for a while, so you went to check and found her unconscious in the bathroom. You picked her up and started groping her chest, huh? Lin Yi's face reddened. Jiao Lao, don't mention this. It wasn't on purpose. Didn't you tell me not to miss a single detail? Jiao Yazi humphed. Ugh. Okay, continue then. Lin Yi didn't care about being embarrassed anymore. Remembering the details was more important. And then you realized this and almost threw Xiao Xiao out and then accidentally cut your arm on the door lock. And you carried her to the bed to save her. Jiao Yazi said in detail. Wait, cut my arm? Lin Yi frowned. The only unusual thing in this whole thing was that he cut his arm. He remembered that there was blood everywhere on Xiao Xiao's body and bed sheets. And the next morning Xiao Xiao thought that he had done something to her. Yes, I cut my arm. Jiao Yazi said suddenly, right? Your blood is also of the yang attribute because of the art of dragon mastery. Could it be that your blood saved Xiao Xiao? Oh, Lin Yi thought that it was possible. Without another word, he bit his finger, and the blood flowed down to Xiao Xiao's forehead. What are you doing? Tianlong was shocked. He didn't expect Lin Yi to do this. He didn't know what he meant. Tang Yun, on the other hand, was startled as well. She didn't know what Lin Yi was doing, but Lin Yi must have a reason for doing this. She turned to Tianlong. Uncle Feng, please don't fret. Lin Yi must have a plan. Oh, Tianlong looked at Tang Yun, a little embarrassed. He wasn't as calm as a 19-year-old girl. It made sense, after all. He was worried about Xiao Xiao's safety, so naturally his heart would be more fragile. What Lenny didn't expect was that the blood seemed to seep into Xiao Xiao's skin, getting absorbed bit by bit. Lin Yi's body had already gotten rid of the impurities when he broke through to golden class, so his blood was very pure. Xiao Xiao absorbed it cleanly in no time. A look of relief flashed across Lin Yi's face. He was really lucky today. If it weren't for old Lin's reminder and Jiao Yazi's help, he would have missed this small detail. But he didn't expect that this small detail was the key to saving Xiao Xiao. Tianlong's eyes widened as he watched his daughter absorb Lin Yi's blood. He didn't know what Lin Yi was doing, but no matter what, it had to be good for Xiao Xiao, or his daughter wouldn't be able to absorb Lin Yi's blood. Tang Yin covered her mouth as well. She didn't expect Lin Yi to use his own blood to save Xiao Xiao. She felt dizzy. If it was just a little bit of blood, Tang Yin wouldn't care, but in just a short while, Lin Yi had lost at least half a bottle's worth of blood. If this continued, would he be able to take it? Chapter 12-13. Do you know something? Time passed, and Xiao Xiao's pale face slowly regained some color. Lin Yi let out a breath of relief. It seemed like Xiao Xiao was fine now. Tianlong and Tang Yun saw Xiao Xiao's change as well, and they both let out a breath of relief. Not long after, Xiao Xiao opened her eyes, and the first thing she saw was Lin Yi's bleeding finger. She jumped, thinking that she was having a nightmare. She screamed, "Xiao Xiao, you're awake?" Only then did he pull his finger back, silently channeling the art of dragon mastery to heal the wound on his finger. But sadly, he realized that there was no energy left in his body. How was he supposed to heal the wound? Lin Yi smiled bitterly and took out a bottle of ointment. He'd given all his qi to Xiao Xiao, and he'd forgotten about it. Lin Yi, honey? Xiao Xiao finally saw that the person in front of her was Lin Yi, but she didn't know why Lin Yi had a bleeding finger on her head. Xiao Xiao, you're really awake? That's great. Tianlong quickly walked to Xiao Xiao's bedside as well, surprised to see his daughter awake. Ah, Dad, why are you here too? Xiao Xiao blushed, embarrassed. Did she just call Lin Yi honey in front of her dad? Xiao Xiao, you didn't know that you were unconscious? Tianlong didn't have the time to care if his daughter called Lin Yi honey in front of him. Even if she did, it didn't matter. As far as Tianlong was concerned, Lin Yi was a good son-in-law. At least he was satisfied. So the better Xiao Xiao and Lin Yi were, the happier Tianlong was. I fainted. I think so. Tianlong's words reminded Xiao Xiao. My chest was a bit uncomfortable, so I wanted to lie on a bed for a while, but it got worse and worse, and I think I fell asleep. I don't know anything after that. Xiao Xiao, you almost entered the gates of hell. It was Yi who saved you. Feng Tianlong sighed. Although he didn't know when his daughter's illness would act up again after waking up, no matter what, it was better to live one more day. Ah, Xiao Xiao remembered Lin Yi waving his bleeding finger on her face. Was he healing her? Thinking about it, it seemed possible. Last time in the hotel in Yanjing, there was blood all over the bed when she woke up. She thought that Lin Yi had pushed her. Thinking about Lin Yi using his blood to heal her, Xiao Xiao was very grateful. Lin Yi, honey, thank you. What are you thanking me for? Lin Yi smiled faintly. You said it yourself. I'm your husband. Why are you thanking me? Hee, you're right. Xiao Xiao was back to her usual cheerful self. Tang Yun let out a long breath and looked at Lin Yi. Lin Yi, are you all right? I'm fine. I'll be fine after some rest. Lin Yi did look a bit weak right now. In fact, Lin Yi was very weak as well. He didn't have any qi left, and he lost a lot of blood. How could he not be weak? But finding a way to extend Xiao Xiao's life made Lin Yi very happy. His qi didn't work on Xiao Xiao, but his blood was very effective. It could wake her up. But thinking about it, it hadn't been that long since the auction, and Xiao Xiao's illness acted up again. Lin Yi wasn't very optimistic. How long could she last this time? Who knew when it would act up again? And when it acted up, would his blood still be useful? This time, the amount of blood Lin Yi gave to Xiao Xiao was clearly much more than last time. Last time, he just accidentally let out some blood, and it was enough to cure her. But this time, he purposely let out a lot of blood. Okay, Tang Yin nodded, seeing that other than exhaustion, There didn't seem to be anything wrong with Lin Yi. Yun Yun, stay with Xiao Xiao for a while. I'm going to take a nap. I can't take it anymore. Lin Yi felt like his eyelids were fighting. He didn't feel like this before because he was worried about Xiao Xiao, but now that he was completely relaxed, he felt drowsy. Lin Yi, honey, sleep on my bed. I'm the only bed in the house, and I'm fine now. Xiao Xiao quickly sat up and said to Lin Yi. Seeing that Xiao Xiao's face was rosy, Lin Yi didn't reject it. He nodded and fell onto Xiao Xiao's bed, entering the jade space impatiently. Tang Yun, Tianlong, and Xiao Xiao, on the other hand, quietly left the room and closed the door for Lin Yi, not wanting to disturb him. Xiao Xiao, you really scared us to death this time. Tang Yun patted her chest as she looked at Xiao Xiao, who was still as lively as ever. Yin Yin sis, were you really worried about me? If I die, no one's going to steal Lin Yi's husband away from you? Xiao Xiao grinned as she looked at Tang Yun, teasing her. Ahem. Tang Yun's face reddened, but she said seriously, Xiao Xiao, what are you thinking? I really see you as a good friend, a good sister. If something happened to you, of course I'd be sad. If it's possible, I really hope that you'll be healthy forever and nothing will happen to you. Really? Xiao Xiao was overjoyed and touched. Tang Yun was really, really good to her. She didn't bully the small wife, but took care of her. Perhaps she was the best big wife in the world? Yes, really. Tang Yun said sincerely. Haha, I'm so happy. Xiao Xiao was in a great mood, but she suddenly thought of something. Her face changed. Yun Yun sis, do you know something? Tang Yun's words earlier made Xiao Xiao, who was smart and sensitive, realize something. Tang Yun said that if it was possible, she hoped that she'd be healthy forever and nothing would happen to her. What did she mean by maybe? Did she know that she didn't have long to live? Tang Yun paused, not expecting Xiao Xiao to be so sensitive. She was just sighing, and Xiao Xiao noticed something. She didn't know how to answer. If she said she knew, would Xiao Xiao think that she and Lin Yi were friends with her because they felt sorry for her? For a moment, Tang Yun was in a dilemma. Chapter 12:14. You can't blame me, right? Tianlong had been listening to Tang Yun and Xiao Xiao's conversation, and while he was thankful for Tang Yun, he was happy for his daughter as well. At the end of her life, she met a reasonable wife like Tang Yun. If it were someone else, they'd be wishing for Xiao Xiao's death. Tianlong saw that his daughter had noticed something, and naturally, he stepped up to explain the situation. He was afraid that Xiao Xiao would think that Lin Yi and Tang Yun were doing this out of pity for her. Xiao Xiao's heart skipped a beat. So it was like that. Lin Yi's husband and Tang Yun's sis knew the truth now, but she let out a breath of relief. She'd have to say it sooner or later anyway, and it was easier to say it from her father's mouth. Otherwise, she wouldn't know how she'd tell Lin Yi. This had always been a sore point in Xiao Xiao's heart. She didn't want Lin Yi to feel the pain she brought him when she left, but she was deeply immersed in the beauty of love, unable to pull herself out. And so Xiao Xiao's heart was in a mess. She didn't want to leave Lin Yi, but there was nothing she could do. She lived in self-blame every day, waking up from nightmares all the time. Plus, not only did she have a boyfriend like Lin Yi, but she also had Tang Yun, a sister who loved her so much. Love, friendship, she had all, but the more she had it, the more she was afraid of losing it. Now that her father told Lin Yi and Tang Yun about her situation, Xiao Xiao felt much more relaxed. Tang Yun sis, you guys don't blame me, right? I've been hiding these things from you guys. Xiao Xiao couldn't look Tang Yun in the eye anymore. Not at all. In fact, we all sympathize with you. Tang Yun sighed. Xiao Xiao, to be honest, I was really shocked when I found out about this. But considering your personality, I can guess that you knew you wouldn't be able to live for long. That's why you're like this, right? Yeah. Xiao Xiao nodded. Unsurprised, Tang Yun guessed it all after knowing her situation, so it wasn't anything special. But you have to believe in Lin Yi. He will definitely find a way to cure you. Just now, when we were all at our wits' end, he came back to save you. Tang Yun encouraged. Yeah, I trust him. Xiao Xiao nodded, but still didn't dare look at Tang Yun. Come on, let's go make some food for Lin Yi. He'll be hungry when he wakes up. We didn't even have time to eat today, Tang Yun said as she held Xiao Xiao's hand. Sure, Xiao Xiao said happily. She loved cooking for Lin Yi. Seeing how his daughter and Tang Yun were getting along so well, Feng Tianlong felt that it was unbelievable. Could these two women really live in peace without fighting? But the truth was right in front of him, and he had no choice but to believe it. Whether Tang Yun was sincere or not, Feng Tianlong could still tell. Perhaps Tang Yun's decision was out of sympathy for Xiao Xiao, but now, other than sympathy, Tang Yun's eyes were filled with deep love and care. Feng Tianlong knew that it wasn't appropriate for him to stay any longer. He coughed and said to Xiao Xiao, Xiao Xiao, I'll be going first. I still have things to do. Okay, bye. Xiao Xiao wished that her father would go out as well. Otherwise, she wouldn't be able to talk about these private things in front of him. Feng Tianlong looked at Li Yifeng, and Li Yifeng naturally understood what he meant. He brought Dr. Liu and the other doctors out of Xiao Xiao's apartment, and Feng Tianlong followed behind them. After closing the door, only Tang Yun, Xiao Xiao, and the sleeping Lin Yi were left in the house. Yin sis, I really don't want to leave you guys. I really don't. Being able to meet you guys at the end of my life is the biggest blessing of my life. Xiao Xiao said emotionally as she skillfully operated the cooking utensils on the stove. Me too, Xiao Xiao. In fact, when I first agreed to your bet, I was just acting out of spite. I was a little conflicted in my heart, but as I got to know you more and more, I really treated you as a good friend, Tang Yun said with a sigh. That's why I said, if it's possible, let's be together forever. Yeah, Xiao Xiao nodded, touched. I also hope to have a big sis that loves me forever. Huh. All right, let's not talk about these unhappy things. Let's make dinner. Tang Yun shook her head as she said to Xiao Xiao. All right. Xiao Xiao started getting busy as well. After entering the Jade Space, Lin Yi immediately started channeling the art of dragon mastery, greedily absorbing the energy in the Jade Space for his own use. Not only did he need a lot of energy from the blood loss, but he also needed more energy to recover his strength. Jiao Yazi looked at Lin Yi and couldn't help but shake his head. You sure are infatuated. You lost a lot this time, didn't you? There can be no construction without destruction, Lin Yi said faintly, ignoring Jiao Lao. He didn't have time to waste with Jiao Lao. You bastard, I care about you, and you take my kindness for granted. Jiao Yazi glared and turned away, ignoring Lin Yi. Lin Yi had experienced this many times before, and while he was making use of every second he had to train, he wasn't in a rush. He'd recover sooner or later. So what was the rush? The energy in the Jade Space was quickly channeled by Lin Yi, and Lin Yi was getting better and better at this. The first time, he couldn't completely gather all the energy around him for his own use, so he could only absorb it slowly. But after a few times of destruction, Lin Yi was getting more and more familiar with it, and he could channel all the energy in the Jade Space around him and above his head. This way, he could passively absorb the energy and speed up his training. If it weren't in the Jade Space but the outside world, all the plants and houses within a few hundred miles would be affected by the energy around Lin Yi. If an outsider were here, they'd be shocked because the energy around Lin Yi was like a tornado surrounding Lin Yi, and Lin Yi was in the center of it all. Chapter 12:15. He had to give up. There was enough energy in the space of the jade for him to absorb, but he wasn't satisfied. He felt that the absorption was too slow, so he had to guide the energy around him and let it rush into his body. Lin Yi first repaired the blood that was lost in his body. This process wasn't complicated, and to Lin Yi, it was like healing his own body, using the energy to speed up the blood production. After his body recovered, Lin Yi started to recover his strength. At this moment, Lin Yi's body was like an empty water tank, gulping down the energy in the space of the jade. Time always passed in the blink of an eye during cultivation. Lin Yi felt that the energy in his body was accumulating more and more, from no strength at all to the early phase of the golden class, and from the early phase to the peak of the late phase, and then to the early phase of the Mystic class. Finally, Lin Yi reached his previous strength, the middle phase of the Mystic class, before he dropped a level. There were no accidents during this process because Lin Yi had done this many times, and it was a walk in the park for him. After returning to his previous strength, Lin Yi didn't slack off. He continued to use the art of dragon mastery, preparing to break through to the peak of the middle phase of the Mystic class. Many things were like this: the first burst of energy, the second decline, and the third exhaustion. If he couldn't break through in one go, then it would be much harder to break through again. So Lin Yi didn't want to waste this opportunity. So he gritted his teeth and persevered. But how could breaking through be that easy? Even if the timing was right, many people would be stuck at the bottleneck for more than a year and a half. Many people might not be able to break through in their entire lives. Did they not touch the barrier? In reality, they had also touched it and were on the verge of leveling up. However, it was extremely difficult to break through this barrier. Lin Yi didn't want to admit it, but he had to admit that he had failed this time. It was a failure. Without destruction, there can be no construction. For the first time, Lin Yi tasted the taste of failure. There was no construction after destruction. This time, Lin Yi's attempt to break through to the peak of Mystic mid-phase was slightly different from the last few times. The last few days were all very difficult, and it was hard to even absorb a little bit of energy into his body. In many cases, he couldn't even absorb a little bit of energy. It was like a bag that was filled to the brim with things. Even a little bit more could not be stuffed in. This was also the reason why Lin Yi could not break through the barrier, even after trying so many times. But this time, he was able to absorb a little energy into his body, but he still failed. Phew, as expected, it still won't work. Lin Yi sighed and opened his eyes. After a while, Lin Yi decided to attack the barrier of mid-phase peak again. Lin Yi was not willing to accept this failure. He wanted to break through in one go. The energy in the Jade space was once again moved by Lin Yi, and it surrounded Lin Yi at an unbelievable speed. Lin Yi had already grasped the method of absorbing energy, and he could use the first stage of the art of dragon mastery with ease. It could be said that breaking through to the second stage was something that was within his reach. Now that everything was ready, all he needed to do was wait for the stone door to open again, and he would be able to obtain the second stage of the art of dragon mastery. The first stage already had so many benefits. It was so much stronger than the average mantra, and it benefited Lin Yi immensely. Then, what kind of surprise would the second stage bring? Lin Yi was looking forward to it. At the same time, Lin Yi was regretting that he didn't discover the Jade space earlier. If he had discovered the Jade space earlier, he would have completed the first stage of the art of dragon mastery, and he wouldn't have to wait for so many years. He would have been able to open the stone door 5 years ago. But Lin Yi was just thinking about it. Sometimes, one couldn't be too greedy. It was already good enough that he could achieve what he had today. Once, twice, thrice, although the energy was gathering around Lin Yi still couldn't break through the barrier. Every time, he could absorb some energy into his body, but he felt like he was just a little bit away from it. If he could have just a little bit more energy, even a little bit more, he would have broken through. But the amount of energy he could absorb each time was limited, and he couldn't go any further. And after the energy was absorbed into his body, it would instantly be consumed by his metabolism, and he couldn't accumulate again. It was like a person trying to push a door. If he didn't have enough strength, no matter how many times he pushed, the door wouldn't open. He knew that if he just used a little more strength, the door would open, but he couldn't. And the strength he used to push the door couldn't be accumulated either. After pushing, it would be used up. And that was what Lin Yi was like right now. His body was full of energy, and if he absorbed a little more, he would be able to break through the barrier. But if he absorbed it bit by bit, it wouldn't help at all. This situation made Lin Yi very frustrated and conflicted. He opened his eyes and looked at Jiao Yazi, who was smiling not too far away. Lin Yi said in distress, "Jiao Lao, why am I just a little bit away from breaking through? It's simple. You just broke through the middle phase of the Mystic Division not long ago, and it's already hard for you to take another step forward. The time is too short, and your strength hasn't stabilized yet. Jiao Yazi didn't seem to mind at all. It would be strange if you could break through at this time. But Lin, he still didn't want to give up. The breakthrough was right in front of him, but he was still one step away. This feeling made him feel terrible. It was like having a plate of delicious food in front of him, but he couldn't eat it. Lin, he tried a few more times, but it all ended in failure. He wanted to give up, but he didn't want to give up. This method of leveling up was tried and tested, but this time there was an accident. It seemed like the peak of the middle phase of the Mystic Division wasn't that easy to reach. Lin, he returned to reality with disappointment. When he opened his eyes, the room was already dark. It should be evening now. Sitting up on the bed, Lin, he walked out of the bedroom and opened the door. What greeted his eyes was a bright light. But Lin Yi's adaptability was much stronger than normal people. Under the strong light, he didn't feel uncomfortable at all. He could clearly see the scene in the living room. Xiao Xiao and Tang Yun were sitting on the sofa watching TV. The two of them were snuggling together, wearing cartoon pajamas. They looked like a pair of sisters. Chapter 12:16. Chapter 12:14. Sleeping on the sofa. Hey, Chem. Linny, are you awake? Tang Yun was worried about Linny. She'd seen how much blood Lin he had lost and how much energy he'd expended. She'd been thinking about Lin even when she was asleep. Xiao Xiao, on the other hand, jumped up from the sofa with a swoosh. She said sleepily, Linny, honey, you're done? Do you want to eat or not? I'll go cook. Linny looked at the two, touched. He didn't know whether to laugh or cry. You guys should rest if you're tired. I'll go cook something myself. No, we've already slept. The food's ready. We can eat as soon as it's in a pot. Xiao Xiao waved her hand and rubbed her eyes. Tang Yin stood up as well. We haven't eaten yet either. Let's eat when we're done. Looking at the two, Lin he couldn't help but sigh. He wouldn't have tried breaking through if he'd known this would happen. It would have been better if he'd come out of the jade space earlier. He'd wasted so much time and wasted so much time. He might as well have spent the night researching and breaking through. Let's go then. I'll help you guys cook. Lin he nodded. In the kitchen, Tang Yun and Xiao Xiao realized, to their surprise, that Lin Yi's cooking skills were much better than theirs. His movements were fast, but it didn't seem like he was busy at all. Instead, it was very organized. The two subconsciously became Lin Yi's assistants, helping Lin Yi with the seasoning and plates. Soon, plates after plates of delicious food were placed on the table. Linny, honey, I didn't think you were this good. You could even be a chef in a big restaurant. Meng Yao and Yushu are so lucky. Even I want to move there. Xiao Xiao drooled as she looked at the food on the table enviously. Xiao Xiao's cooking skills weren't bad. After all, she'd been living alone since she was young. She was used to cooking. It was just one person, so it was fine if he could handle it. He only made some common dishes. As for Tang Yun, although she often cooked at home, due to her family's financial situation, she usually ate potatoes and cabbages the most. Seeing so many fresh ingredients, it wasn't easy for her to start. Haha, then let's move over. I'll go talk to Yao Yao. Lin, he smiled and agreed. What Lin, he was thinking was that Xiao Xiao's illness was acting up again, and it was lucky that Tian Long found out today. What if Tian Long wasn't here? If he went on a mission and didn't contact Xiao Xiao for a few days, wouldn't Xiao Xiao be dead for sure? And so, Linny felt that Xiao Xiao's suggestion wasn't bad, and the Miss and Shu were both reasonable people. They'd definitely support his decision. Nah, I'm not used to it. I'm just saying. Linny agreed, but Xiao Xiao shook her head. All right, you can go if you want. The door's always open for you. Linny knew that Xiao Xiao's relationship with the Miss and Shu wasn't as close as she was with Tang Yun. The situation was clear, too, that Tang Yun and Xiao Xiao were on one side, while Meng Yao and Yushu were on the other. Although there was a temporary truce, Xiao Xiao was facing Meng Yao and Yushu alone, and it was hard not to feel weak. Right, Linny, can you give Yao Yao and Shu a call? They saw that you didn't go back at night, so they called me and I told them about what happened here. They were very worried about you and told you to call them when you woke up no matter how late it was. Tang Yin suddenly remembered the phone call and said, That's right, I'm sorry. All right. Linny nodded and dialed Mingyao's number. Hello. Is this Lin E? The miss picked up the call quickly. Yeah, it's me. I'm awake. I'm fine. You and Shu go get some rest. I'll be staying at Xiao Xiao's place tonight. Lin E said. Okay. Take care of Xiao Xiao then. Shu, and I'll sleep first. Ming Yao sounded a little tired. Evidently, she hadn't slept at all. Lin E felt touched once more. The people around him all cared about him. The miss wasn't good with words, but she did worry about him in silence. Xiao Xiao's house only had one small bed and a small sofa in the living room. It could barely fit one person. He could tell that Xiao Xiao didn't let strangers in, and she didn't have any friends before, so no one would come visit. Everything here was prepared for her to live alone. Sleeping after eating was a bit troublesome. There was only one bed. How were they supposed to sleep? Xiao Xiao, you can sleep on the bed. Yin Yin and I can sleep on the floor in the living room. It's not dirty here. Just put a sheet on it, Lin Yi suggested. Yin Yin sis, you're a guest. How can I let you sleep on the floor? You can sleep on the bed, and I'll sleep on the floor, Xiao Xiao said after some thought. Xiao Xiao, your body's not good. Don't catch a cold on the floor. Tang Yin couldn't help but smile. You want Linny to carry you on the floor, right? I'm not. Xiao Xiao blushed as Tang Yin saw right through her. Haha, why don't we sleep on the sofa in the living room and let Linny stay with you, sleeping on the floor next to your bed? Tang Yin, of course, knew what Xiao Xiao was thinking. Although Tang Yin was looking forward to sleeping on the floor with Lin Yi, she wouldn't fight with Xiao Xiao at a time like this. Only the heavens knew how long Xiao Xiao had left to live. So Tang Yin had to use a humble attitude to face the last part of Xiao Xiao's life. I can't do that. Xiao Xiao was actually looking forward to it. Ever since Lin Yi slept with her at the beach, she'd been thinking about when Lin Yi could spend a night with her again, and today was a good chance. With Lin Yi by her side, Xiao Xiao felt very secure. Then it's settled. Tang Yin smiled and said, Go to bed early. You still have school tomorrow morning. With that, Tang Yin stood up and walked to the sofa with a yawn. Xiao Xiao looked at Tang Yin's back and couldn't help but feel her nose twitch. She felt sorry for her. She'd been a little petty before, forcing Tang Yin to agree to her promise out of spite, but now it seemed that Tang Yin was a kind girl, and she couldn't bear to lie to her. Chapter 12:17. Do you want to believe me? Xiao Xiao nodded and walked into the bedroom with Lin Yi. She actually wanted to sleep on the same bed as Lin Yi, but her bed was too small for two people. If the two of them slept together, they'd have to hug each other. That position was too ambiguous. Xiao Xiao liked Lin Yi, but the thought of sleeping with Lin Yi like that still made her blush. Go to sleep. I'll watch over you. Lin Yi, on the other hand, didn't think too much about it. He didn't want to squeeze into the same bed with Xiao Xiao, and Lin Yi could sleep sitting down. Lin Yi wanted to try breaking through after entering the jade space. Oh! Xiao Xiao let out a breath of relief when she saw that Lin Yi wasn't planning on squeezing into the same bed as her, but she was also a little disappointed. Go to sleep. Lin Yi moved Xiao Xiao's chair to the bed, turned off the light, and sat on it. Xiao Xiao laid on the bed, but didn't close her eyes. In the dark, her eyes rolled around, sizing up Lin Yi. She thought Lin Yi couldn't see, but Lin Yi's vision was better than anyone else's in the dark. Why aren't you sleeping? Lin Yi looked at Xiao Xiao's eyes, amused. How did you know I wasn't asleep? Xiao Xiao paused. I can see you. Lin Yi shrugged helplessly. You're so strong, Lin Yi honey. Xiao Xiao said. Do you have the legendary fiery eyes of truth? Lin Yi was speechless. I'm a cultivator. Naturally, I can see things clearly in the dark. This has nothing to do with the fiery eyes of truth. If that's the case, then tell me, if I also cultivate, would I not die? This was the first time Xiao Xiao had talked about death with Lin Yi, and since Lin Yi already knew about it, she didn't need to hide it anymore. This is possible. Lin Yi smiled bitterly and said, but there's not enough time. There's still a glimmer of hope if I start cultivating from a young age, but now, Tang Yin had already told Lin Yi that Xiao Xiao knew that they knew the truth when Xiao Xiao went to the kitchen, so Lin Yi wasn't surprised. I understand. Xiao Xiao was a little disappointed. Lin, he didn't finish his sentence, but she already knew the answer. She didn't have time to train now, so she didn't need to think about all this. Xiao Xiao, do you believe me? Linny took a deep breath and asked. Of course I do. Xiao Xiao nodded, confused. I can definitely cure your illness. You won't die. Remember this. Be happy every day. Don't think too much. Lin Yi's face was very serious when he said this, not just to comfort Xiao Xiao, but from the bottom of his heart. He wanted to solve this problem. Yeah, of course I believe you. I look forward to that day. Huh. Xiao Xiao couldn't see the expression on Lin Yi's face in the dark, and naturally thought that Lin Yi was comforting her. But Xiao Xiao had gotten over it long ago, and she wouldn't be bothered by death. Go to sleep. We have school tomorrow. Lin Yi smiled. Xiao Xiao clearly didn't believe him, but that wasn't important anymore. The important thing was that he had to have confidence, and no matter what, he had to find a way to cure Xiao Xiao, no matter what price he had to pay. Xiao Xiao closed her eyes. Lin Yi was right. She still had school tomorrow, and she was really tired. Lin Yi waited until Xiao Xiao fell asleep before entering the Jade Space and starting a new round of training. The Xiao family's villa, on the other hand, was brightly lit. The living room of the Xiao family's villa was filled with smoke, and Xiao Ji and Xiao Ben were sitting on the sofa with furrowed brows, smoking. Motherfucker, these people really are bad. They're working with us Xiao family to earn money, but when it comes to teaching Pengzhan Industries a lesson, they all shrink back, saying they don't have enough cash. Brother, tell me, what the hell is this? They're all ingrates. Xiao Ji was quite pissed off this afternoon. The two brothers had visited all their business partners, and it wasn't that they didn't have enough cash, but that their business project had taken up most of their manpower and energy. In short, none of them agreed to take down Pengzhan Industries in the stock market. Bro, don't worry, Xiao Ben sighed. This is actually human nature. Working with us, the Xiao family, and using our Xiao family's name as the sun in the sky, they'll be able to earn money no matter what they do, but taking down Pengzhan Industries in the stock market. If we don't do it right, we'll lose money. Pengzhan Industries is different from normal companies. Too, there aren't many tradable shares, and most of them are in the hands of Pengzhan Industries and the major shareholders. Even if we take all the shares in the stock market, we'll only be a small shareholder. There's no point in doing this. Old Wang told us this afternoon, and I realized that this method isn't very feasible. Then what do? Give up this chance just like that? Lin Yi's in the hospital, and Pengzhan has so many properties. If we don't take this chance, it'll be a waste. Xiao Ji felt that it was a pity. There's nothing we can do. Who told Elder Pai and Mr. Pai to be in a hospital? That hero is just too strong, attacking Xiao family at a time like this. Even if we want to take Pengzhan's properties, we don't have any cards up our sleeves. Xiao Ben sighed. Now, that Pengzhan isn't going to budge. We can only get Elder Pai and Mr. Pai to do it. I don't want to. Xiao Ji was a little depressed. Forget it. We'll find another opportunity. When Elder Pai and Mr. Pai are out of the hospital, we'll have a chance to teach Pengzhan a lesson. Xiao Ben said. The meeting of the noble houses is about to start, and we should be active. This year, our Xiao family should be able to get a good spot, second only to House Yu. Yes, you're right. I'll go to Yanjing tomorrow and pay Shuixing a visit. Xiao Ji nodded. Xiao family's revenge could only come to a temporary standstill, and they could only wait for the right time to deal a fatal blow to House Chu. At the same time, in Yuan Yuan's house, Yuan looked at his wife, who was tidying up the house. He felt like he was dreaming. Recovered just like that? His wife's leg was bitten off by a lion, and it was so serious, but she recovered just like that? Yuan was stunned by the scene in the hospital, and he didn't come back to reality until he got home. Only now did he know that everything was real. Chapter 12:18. Chapter 12:16. Air Gooden's confession. No, it's nothing. Are you really cured? Your leg doesn't hurt at all? Yuan still didn't believe it. What are you talking about? How can I clean the house if my leg hurts? Mrs. Yu said, annoyed. Did Air Gooden's boss really cure it? Isn't this too amazing? Yuan felt that this was unbelievable. Weren't you there too? Why are you asking such a stupid question? Mrs. You didn't know whether to laugh or cry. I really was cured. It's too amazing. You were inside. Air Gooden's boss is really amazing. When he has time, I'll definitely invite him to our house and thank him properly. Are you planning something bad again? Mrs. You glared at you, Ron, and asked. Of course not. I was just thinking that since Air Gooden's boss is so amazing, I should ask him to help Air Gooden and Yuan. Yuan explained. That's good. I thought you liked him and wanted to marry Yuan to him. Mrs. Yu breathed out in relief. I like him, but he doesn't like our Yuan. Didn't he say he already has a girlfriend? Yuan shook his head. I've thought it through after the underground arena incident. People need to learn to be satisfied, to be content. Everything in front of us is enough. Don't dream about those unrealistic things. Yuan, being able to find a man like Air Gooden is her fortune. As for someone like Lin Yi, Yuan might not fall for him. You're finally realistic. If you were like this earlier, you wouldn't have been tricked by others. Mrs. Yu shook her head and said helplessly, if I wasn't tricked, I wouldn't have met Air Gooden, and our family wouldn't have such a good life now. Yuan said proudly. At the same time, in Yuan's room, Air Gooden's expression was serious. This time, he wanted to talk to Yuan about the future. Gooden might look like a fool, but he wasn't an idiot. He had his own plans. Zhou Jiaming, what do you want to say to me? Yuan was a bit shy, lowering her head, not daring to look at Gooden. Her hand clutched the corner of her shirt, a bit nervous. A man and a woman alone in a room. She was afraid that Gooden would do something to her. I have something very important to tell you. Gooden sighed before saying seriously. What? What is it? Yuan's heart tightened. Was Gooden confessing to her? The two of them being together was a little interesting, but they never made it clear. Today would Gooden. Yuan, I'll be going back home soon. Gooden said. Yuan paused, not expecting Gooden's first words to be leaving. She didn't know what to do. Naturally, she didn't want Gooden to leave. After all this time, she had developed feelings for him. How could she let him leave? Yuan, I have a reason why I have to go back, so I want to ask you. Will you go back with me in the future? Gooden looked at Yuan and asked word by word. Yuan was dumbfounded. This Gooden was too direct, wasn't he? Who asked a girl like that? You didn't even confess, and you're asking me to go back with you? Wasn't this a bit too fast? Man, I know too. You're a girl born in a big city. Why would you want to go to a small village with me? Gooden looked at Yuan's expression and laughed at himself. Forget it. Pretend I didn't say anything. With that, he turned around and was about to leave Yuan's room. Gooden wasn't an idiot, but he was an honest man. He thought that Yuan was rejecting him when she didn't say anything. In order to avoid the awkwardness, Gooden decided that he should leave as soon as possible. It wouldn't be good for them to be friends in the future. Yuan was even more stunned now. What kind of person was this? He didn't even say much, and he just turned around and left. What do you mean, why would I want to? How do you know I don't want to? You're even answering for me? Zhou Jiaming, you bastard. Yuan panicked. Stop right there. This time, it was Gooden's turn to be dumbfounded. He didn't think that the usually gentle Yuan would get angry, cursing at him. Gooden turned around and looked at Yuan carefully, not sure what was wrong with her. How do you know I don't want to? You think you have superpowers? You can see what I'm thinking? Yuan glared at Gooden. Then you're willing? Gooden blinked and then became happy. He finally understood why Yuan was angry. You didn't even confess to me. Why should I go back with you? Yuan snorted and did not answer. Haha. Gooden, of course, understood what Yuan was thinking. It seemed like Yuan agreed to go with him, and he misunderstood. Gooden scratched his head. Yuan, I actually like you, and I want you to be my wife. What the hell are you talking about? Do you even know how to confess? Yuan rolled her eyes. It was such a romantic moment, and this guy was acting like this. Well, it's like that. It's fine as long as you know. I'm not that good with words, you know. Gooden explained helplessly. Forget it. I don't understand romance. Yuan couldn't do anything about this. Thinking that Gooden had always been like this, she didn't mind. Instead, she felt a bit of sweetness in her heart. Nothing could compare to what Gooden said just now. He wanted her to be his wife. Nowadays, there were quite a number of young couples who made vows of undying love, but when it came to marriage, their vows of undying love became bullshit. Some guys just wanted to have fun, and some girls didn't like guys because they didn't have a car or a house. Gooden wasn't romantic at all, but it was practical. Then, are you coming back with me or not? Gooden was panicking. Yuan still hadn't given him a definite answer. But what about my parents? Yuan was worried about her parents. Chapter 12:19. Heavenly benefits. Dumb people have dumb luck, meeting a good boss. Yuan was a bit speechless, but Lenny looked like a smart guy. He should have a way to solve this problem, right? In the Jade space, he had failed his 20th attempt at Mystic mid-phase peak. Kid, I told you you're still lacking. You just need to train for a few more days, and maybe you'll be able to break through. You're just wasting your time, aren't you? Jiao Yazi shook his head as he looked at Lin Yi's failure. Jiao Lao, I can't accept this. If I want to save Xiao Xiao, I need to get stronger. Only when I'm Sky Class can I extend her life. Lin Yi gritted his teeth. Forgive me for being blunt, but even if you're a training genius, you won't be able to reach Sky Class before Xiao Xiao dies. Jiao Lao said, it's good to have a goal to strive for, but if it's too unrealistic, then you're biting off more than you can chew. Lin Yi couldn't help but smile bitterly when he heard Jiao Lao's words. Indeed, he was biting off more than he could chew, wanting to break through to Sky Class and extend Xiao Xiao's life. But now that he'd calmed down, Jiao Lao's words weren't without reason. He was only a Mystic mid-phase, and there was still an Earth Class between him and Sky Class. Trying to break through from Mystic to Earth Class wasn't biting off more than he could chew. If word got out, he'd be a laughingstock. It was unrealistic for other people to break through from Mystic mid-phase to Earth Class, let alone Mystic mid-phase to Sky Class. And Jiao Lao wasn't wrong at all. Even if he was a genius, he wouldn't be able to break through to Sky Class before Xiao Xiao died. In other words, even if he did break through Sky Class, he'd only be extending Xiao Xiao's life, not actually curing her. So in order to solve Xiao Xiao's problem, he had to find out if there was a fire spirit's fruit in this world. If he did, he'd give Xiao Xiao one to suppress the cold energy in her body. That way, he'd have plenty of time to find a suitable cold energy practitioner's arts for Xiao Xiao, and he'd be able to guide her in her training. That should solve the problem once and for all. Thank you. Lenny nodded. In an instant, he had figured out many things. I also don't want to see you work in vain. Jiao Lao waved his hand and said indifferently, but I still want to break through. This is not only to save Xiao Xiao, but also for myself. The enemy is too strong. I must increase my strength. Lenny said, fuck. I've wasted my words. Jiao Yazi rolled his eyes. Do what you want. If you want to do useless work, then do it. If you can break through today, I'll tell you a huge benefit. A huge benefit. Lin Yi's eyes lit up. Jiao Yazi's benefit was no ordinary benefit. The information he got from Jiao Yazi was extremely useful to Lin Yi, and this was all information Jiao Yazi told him without any conditions. This huge benefit had to be something even more powerful. Yes, I was going to tell you this benefit after you break through to the second stage of the art of dragon mastery, but if you break through today, then I'll tell you now. Jiao Yazi actually didn't want Lin Yi to continue tormenting him, but since Lin Yi didn't give up, Jiao Yazi said it out of anger. He didn't expect Lin Yi to take it seriously. All right, it's a deal. Lin Yi nodded and continued to sit cross-legged, entering the state of cultivation. Jiao Yazi was a little speechless, but since Lin Yi insisted, he had nothing else to say. Lin Yi activated the art of dragon mastery and mobilized the energy in the space of the jade pendant. Everything in the beginning was easy for Lin Yi, but at the last moment, he inevitably failed. Once, twice, thrice, all the way until the 10th time, Lin Yi finally wanted to give up. It seemed like Jiao Yazi was right. He wasn't there yet. Although he had reached the peak of the middle phase of the mystic class, he was still lacking a little bit. Don't underestimate this little bit. There's a saying that a little bit of difference can lead to a great loss. However, Lin Yi remembered the benefit Jiao Yazi mentioned before, and his heart itched. He opened his eyes and looked at Jiao Yazi. Jiao Lao, why don't I give up, and you tell me what that benefit is? I say, Lin kid, what does it have to do with me, whether you give up or not? What benefit do I have to tell you if you give up? Do you think I'm an old fool? Jiao Yazi couldn't help but laugh at Lin Yi. You brat, what a good plan, you give up and still want benefits. Do you think you're dreaming right now? Ugh, this. Lin Yi blushed at Jiao Yazi's words, but this also made Lin Yi even more stubborn. Fine, then I'll break through for you to see. Then continue. Jiao Yazi nodded. Let's continue then. Who's afraid of who? Lin Yi took a deep breath and decided to enter the next round of breaking through. This time, Lin Yi didn't train recklessly and blindly like before. Instead, he carefully recalled the feeling he had before he broke through. He felt that the energy he absorbed wasn't enough, just a little bit more, but the amount of energy he absorbed was already at the limit. He couldn't go anymore, right? Did he really need to cultivate for a while longer, wait for the energy in his body to accumulate more, and then think about breaking through? But if he did that, the benefits would be gone, and Jiao Yazi was completely a virtual person. Forcing him was useless. So if Lin Yi wanted to know the benefits, the only way was to break through today. But how could he break through? Lin Yi furrowed his brows. Looking at Lin Yi's thoughtful look, Jiao Yazi found it a little funny. Thinking to himself, this kid really wants to know what the benefits are? When you cultivate the second stage of the art of dragon mastery, you'll naturally know the benefits. But now, even if you know the benefits, what's the use? Your strength isn't at the second stage. You can't use it even if you know. Lin Yi still didn't know that he was actually schemed by Jiao Lao, who promised him an unrealistic benefit. If he knew this earlier, Lin Yi wouldn't be so eager to break through. A little more energy, a little more. How can I get a little more? Chapter 1220. Finally breaking through, is it really possible? No matter what, I'll know once I try. Lin Yi thought of an extremely crazy way to experiment. This method was a little risky, but if it succeeded, then Lin Yi would have found a way to level up that was different from other traditional methods. The benefits that this would bring would be immeasurable. In other words, if this method succeeded, then even if Lin Yi couldn't reach the full circle of each level in the future, he could use this method to forcefully break through. Thinking of this, Lin Yi's face was a little excited, but also a little nervous, because this was not a normal method, but a very dangerous one. Whether or not it would bring any benefits was still uncertain, but whether or not it would bring any negative effects was also very hard to say. So, Lin Yi had to be very, very careful. If he were to get injured because of this, then the gains would not make up for the losses. The method that Lin Yi thought of was energy compression. Lin Yi had mastered the energy compression method. Not only could he compress the energy inside his body, but he could also compress the energy outside his body. Right now, Lin Yi's situation was that under the same circumstances, the total amount of energy that he could absorb was fixed, but after compressing the energy, he could absorb more energy. This was like a file on a computer. A hard disk could only store a certain amount of data, but if it was a compressed file, then it could store more data. So, this was also a possibility that Lin Yi thought of. Since he only needed a little bit more energy to break through, then he could directly absorb some of the compressed energy and let it be released in his body. That way, wouldn't it be the same as absorbing more energy? But this idea was a little crazy and dangerous. This was one of his trump cards, the energy bomb, against an enemy. It could blow them up into a bloody mess. But if he used it on himself, he couldn't be sure that nothing would go wrong. But what Lin Yi thought was that since the energy was the same as the energy in his body, it was the same attribute, then even if the energy was suddenly released, it could be absorbed by him, unlike others who would be directly blown up. Therefore, this was the most important reason why Lin Yi wanted to experiment. After thinking for a while, he remembered that even if he was injured by the explosion, he still had the ability to heal himself. Plus, he had the yellow tear dog as his trump card. so he didn't have to worry about not being able to deal with any accidents. Once this idea of his was realized, the benefits it would bring would be endless. He took a deep breath and activated the art of dragon mastery, gathering all the energy in the jade space around him. But this time, he didn't rush to absorb it. Instead, he compressed the energy around him. Of course, this compression was only on a small scale and with a small compression ratio. He did not dare to compress with a high compression ratio like an energy bomb for the first time. He was afraid that he would blow himself up and not even have the chance to recover. Xiao Yazi originally had nothing to do and looked at Lin Yi with a mocking expression. But when he saw what Lin Yi was doing, his expression changed. The next moment, Xiao Yazi realized what Lin Yi was going to do and wanted to stop him. Little Lin, wait. Xiao Yazi was shocked. If Lin Yi was really going to do what he thought, then it was indeed crazy. However, when Xiao Yazi opened his mouth, Lin Yi had already absorbed the compressed energy into his body. In an instant, Lin Yi's face suddenly turned red, showing an unhealthy expression. The compressed energy was instantly released in Lin Yi's body. Lin Yi only felt like he was a balloon that was about to burst. His whole body was like an air bag, bulging and uncomfortable. His 5 viscera and 6 bowels felt like they were compressed together, and there was no space left. Lin Yi instantly spat out a mouthful of blood. This high-intensity expansion of energy made him feel like he was going to explode. It was indescribably uncomfortable. When Xiao Yazi saw this scene, he instantly sucked in a breath of cold air. How could he do such a thing? He's simply courting death. However, since Lin Yi had already done it, then Xiao Yazi could only watch helplessly from the side. He wasn't a real body and was only a shadow, so he couldn't interfere with what Lin Yi was doing. Sigh. Little Lin, I hope you can succeed. I'm afraid you're the only one in the world who dares to break through like this. Xiao Yazi muttered to himself and shook his head. However, when he recalled Lin Yi's daily actions, how many crazy things had he done? Previously, he used this energy bomb to blow others up, and now he used it to blow himself up. This person, for the sake of cultivation, he would do anything. Although Lin Yi was extremely uncomfortable, he could still hear Xiao Yazi's words. He suddenly didn't know whether to laugh or cry. However, no matter what, Lin Yi could only clench his teeth and persevere. He couldn't give up now. He had to persevere. If he didn't persevere, then all his previous efforts would be wasted. Therefore, Lin Yi clenched his teeth. Since he couldn't resist, then he would enjoy it. Therefore, Lin Yi began to enjoy the refreshing feeling that his body was about to explode from the energy. It was really refreshing, so refreshing that he could die. Boom! A loud explosion sounded. Lin Yi only felt that his eardrums were vibrating. His body finally couldn't withstand the accumulation of energy and exploded. However, Lin Yi knew that this kind of explosion wasn't a real explosion. It was an illusion brought about by the moment of breakthrough. Breakthrough, really breakthrough. At the same time that Lin Yi let out a sigh of relief, the energy around his body also slowly dissipated. At the same time, Lin Yi's face also gradually returned to normal from the initial flush. His entire body no longer felt like it was about to explode. Instead, it became a comfortable feeling, as if he had just woken up. His entire body felt like it was filled with energy. It was indescribably comfortable. Haha, peak middle phase mystic class. Jiao Lao head, I'm really amazing. I can actually break through like this. Lin Yi jumped up and danced happily. The sense of accomplishment brought by leveling up wasn't enough to make Lin Yi so excited. The reason why Lin Yi was so excited was that he found a shortcut to quickly break through the barrier. Using the method of energy compression to break through was far faster than cultivating slowly. This method was proven. That meant that Lin Yi could continue to cultivate. Every time he reached the barrier of a level, he could do this. Then, Sky Class would probably not be a dream anymore. And you broke through? Xiao Yazi was speechless. Other than speechlessness, There was nothing else he could say. Chapter 12:21. Storage Jade Pendant. Yeah. Jiao Yazi nodded. Jiao Lao, what are the benefits you mentioned before? Can you tell me now? Lin, he looked at Jiao Yazi with a smile. Jiao Yazi didn't expect Lin Yi to have such a good memory. After breaking through, the first thing he thought of was to ask for benefits. Jiao Yazi didn't expect Lin Yi to break through. Now that Lin Yi had broken through, he was in a difficult position. This benefit could only be activated after cultivating the second stage of the art of dragon mastery. However, Lin Yi was only cultivating the first stage of the art of dragon mastery, so he couldn't activate it yet. Therefore, even if Jiao Yazi told Lin Yi about the benefits, he could only drool. He could see it, but not touch it. What? Jiao Lao, you won't go back on your words, right? Lin Yi looked at the silent Jiao Yazi and was a little anxious. The benefits that Jiao Yazi mentioned must be unique. Lin Yi naturally didn't want to let it go. I won't go back on my words, but this benefit doesn't have any practical use for you now. Jiao Yazi thought for a while and said, Do you really want to know? Yes. Lin Yi nodded with certainty. No practical use? Lin Yi didn't believe it. Since Jiao Yazi described it as a great benefit, it must mean that this benefit was huge. It couldn't be an ordinary benefit. All right, since you want to know, I'll tell you. Jiao Yazi nodded and said, The space you are in now is actually a fourth-dimensional space. Not only can you cultivate in it, but you can also use it as a storage space. Storage space? Lin Yi was stunned. That's right, a storage space. It's similar to the storage ring, backpack, and storage bag you play online games with. You can put items from the outside world into this storage space. It won't increase the weight, and you can take it out whenever you need it. Jiao Yazi explained. Oh, Lin Yi listened to Jiao Yazi and was surprised and happy. So this jade pendant can also be used as a storage pendant? I could put all my belongings in it? Theoretically, yes. Jiao Yazi nodded. It's really a great benefit. Lin Yi had heard of magical treasures such as storage rings, storage bags, and space rings. However, most of them were in novels or games. He didn't expect that he would have such a treasure one day. All right, I've told you about the benefits. Jiao Yazi said. Wait, Jiao Lao, what do I have to do to put items from the outside world into the space of the jade pendant? Lin Yi wasn't stupid. Jiao Yazi only told him about the function of the space of the jade pendant, but he didn't say how to use it. This made Lin Yi anxious. I don't know about that. Jiao Yazi shook his head as if it had nothing to do with him. Lin Yi was stunned. You don't know? Yes, I only told you about a benefit, but I didn't say how to use it. Jiao Yazi smiled cunningly. Lin Yi glared at Jiao Yazi, not knowing what to say. What's the point of telling me this benefit if you don't know? Isn't that the same as not saying anything? This benefit is that after you open the next stone door and get the second stage of the art of dragon mastery, you'll be able to use it naturally after you practice it. Jiao Yazi explained. This benefit is something you'll get after you practice the second stage of the art of dragon mastery. I'm just telling you in advance. I see. Lin Yi was a little disappointed, but he was looking forward to it. At least this way, the benefits Jiao Yazi told him weren't just empty words. It was something that could be realized. Once he practiced the second stage of the art of dragon mastery, he'd be able to realize this benefit. Just thinking about it made Lin Yi feel that it was very useful. He'd be able to perform magic for Tang Yun and Xiao Xiao. If Jiao Yazi knew that Lin Yi wanted to use this benefit to perform magic, he wouldn't know whether to laugh or cry. This benefit was something that many practitioners yearned for, but Lin Yi only wanted to use it to perform magic. What a waste. Yes, after you open the first stone door, it's not just the stone door that opens, but also my memories. Jiao Yazi said, You know that I'm just a phantom, not my real body. There are some things in my memories that are suppressed and sealed, and they'll be unlocked when the stone door is opened. So after you open the first door, my memories of the things on the first floor were added. Of course, there were also memories of the things on the second floor. That's why I know about this benefit. So that's how it is. Lin Yi nodded in realization, No wonder Jiao Yazi only knew part of the things, and it was very vague at that. His memories came back with the opening of the stone door. No wonder he didn't know about the Jade's prediction ability when he asked him about it. Perhaps this was one of the benefits of the Jade, but it wasn't time for it to be revealed yet. Perhaps it would only be revealed when he reached the third or fourth stage of the art of Dragon Mastery. But for some reason, a small part of it had been unlocked earlier. All right, I've said what I needed to say. You'll know the details when the second door is opened. Don't miss it, Jiao Yazi said. I understand. Lin nodded, suppressing this benefit to the bottom of his heart. If he kept looking forward to this benefit, it'd affect his temperament, and it wouldn't be good for his training. So it was better to let nature take its course. This benefit would belong to him sooner or later anyway, and he couldn't run away from it. Lin adjusted his state of mind and returned to reality from the space of the Jade. Today's training was coming to an end. He had just broken through, and he needed to consolidate his strength. If he wanted to continue breaking through, he'd really be biting off more than he could chew. One should know that a great building starts from the ground, and more haste makes waste. A balance between work and rest was the eternal truth. Opening his eyes, Lin saw darkness. The sky wasn't bright yet, and it was still nighttime. It was also pitch black outside the window, and only the hazy moonlight could be seen. Chapter 12:22. Xiao Xiao's last wish in this period of time. Lin, he had unknowingly fallen in love with this girl who dared to love and hate. He liked her from the bottom of his heart, and he didn't want her to leave his side. When there's a will, there's a way. It sounded nice, but sometimes there was nothing that could be done. Lin bent down and kissed Xiao Xiao on the cheek. Xiao Xiao seemed to have sensed it, and a sweet smile appeared on her face. She opened her eyes and looked at Lin before falling asleep again. Lin didn't disturb her anymore. He picked up her phone from the bedside. Lin wanted to see what other wishes Xiao Xiao hadn't fulfilled. In the days to come, Lin would help her fulfill these wishes first. After all, this was a warning to him that Xiao Xiao really didn't have much time left. He had to be prepared for all eventuals. He had to find a way to cure Xiao Xiao, and at the same time, he had to make sure she was happy. Even if there was no way to cure her, she'd still have a happy ending to her life. Picking up Xiao Xiao's phone, Lin opened the notebook app he found earlier and found the My Wish folder. He opened it silently. Although peeking at Xiao Xiao's privacy was a bit immoral, it wasn't a problem of morality anymore. Lin's intention was good. He wanted to understand Xiao Xiao's wishes, and then help her fulfill them one by one. As of now, the wishes he saw before, other than the push down the superstar Su Shirhan, which was a bit unbelievable, and Lin couldn't help Xiao Xiao fulfill it, the other wishes were all fulfilled. As for this push down the superstar wish, Lin could only give up. He couldn't really drag Xiao Xiao and Su Shirhan into some threesome. Could he? Lin sweated just thinking about it. Opening My Wish, Lin found the place he saw last time and continued looking. After the push down the superstar wish, there was another wish that was related to this wish. When is Su Shirhan going to hold a concert in Songshan? I really want to see it. It would be best if I went with my best friend and boyfriend. It's best to take a picture with Su Shirhan. Below this wish, there were two comments. The first comment was from a long time ago, more than a year ago. The comment read, "Went to Yanjing for a checkup. Coincidentally, Su Shirhan was having a concert there. But because she was hospitalized, I didn't get to see her. Oh, I'm so pissed." The second comment was written a few days ago. "I have my bestie, I have my boyfriend, I'm just missing Su Shirhan." Lin was speechless as he looked at the comments on the second day. But he was thinking, couldn't this Su Shirhan hold a concert in Songshan? If it didn't work out, he could ask Fatty Lai to sponsor the event. There was a possibility that this wish could be realized. After memorizing this wish, Lin went to look at Xiao Xiao's next wish. "I hope that when I leave, Lin Tang Yun, Ming Yao, Yu Shu, and my dad won't be by my side. Let me leave quietly. I don't want them to be sad for me." Looking at the date of this wish, Lin Yi's face froze. The date was the day before yesterday. Lin, he felt a lot of emotions. It seemed that Xiao Xiao had a premonition that her life was coming to an end. Perhaps her body was already very uncomfortable, but she didn't say anything. Instead, she quietly stayed at home alone and didn't tell anyone. If it wasn't for Qianlong's accidental discovery, Xiao Xiao would have really left this time. Lin sighed softly. Xiao Xiao, Xiao Xiao, if you really left like this, I'd blame myself to death. Lin shook his head. This wish needed more thought, and Lin decided to look at the other wishes. But the wish ended here. This was the last one, and also the newest one. It seemed that Xiao Xiao hadn't added any other wishes yet. So, the remaining unfulfilled wishes were to go to the celebrity Su Shihan's concert and have a threesome with her. The concert could be researched, but as for the threesome, he decided to forget about it. Lin turned off Xiao Xiao's phone and put it back carefully. Lin decided to go check on Tang Yin. From Xiao Xiao's room to the living room, Lin tiptoed towards Tang Yin. Even though Lin Yi's footsteps were very light, not even making a sound, Tang Yin still woke up, perhaps because of telepathy. One had to know that Lin Yi had gone through special training, and even assassination missions were nothing to him. The sound of his footsteps couldn't be heard by a normal person, but Tang Yin opened her eyes and looked at Lin Yi, confused. What's wrong? Is it morning already? No sleep. I'm just here to see you. Lin Yi smiled bitterly. Would Tang Yin think he was a pervert, sneaking here in the middle of the night? Oh, I can't sleep well in a different place. Tang Yin stretched. How's Xiao Xiao? Asleep? Yeah, she's asleep. Lin Yi nodded. You sleep too, I'll go back now. You, don't go. Stay with me for a while? Tang Yin hesitated before calling out to Lin Yi. Tang Yin didn't want to fight with Xiao Xiao, but Xiao Xiao was obviously asleep, so it was fine for Lin Yi to stay with her for a while. Ha! Okay. Lin Yi nodded with a smile. As long as Tang Yin didn't think he was a pervert, it was fine. Lin Yi walked over and sat beside Tang Yin on the sofa, holding her hand. Tang Yin smiled and closed her eyes. Her heart was at ease, and not long after, she fell into a deep sleep. Lin Yi had just leveled up, and he was full of energy. He wasn't sleepy at all. Holding Tang Yun's hand, Lin Yi closed his eyes and enjoyed this moment of warmth. Lin Yi wasn't a conservative person, but he wasn't a playboy either. Suddenly having two girlfriends caught Lin Yi off guard, but now that they were together, it was a different kind of warmth, especially when the two girlfriends didn't fight for each other and got along well with each other. This made Lin Yi feel very happy. In the blink of an eye, it was morning. Xiao Xiao's biological clock was very accurate, and she woke up at 6:30. She didn't see Lin Yi, and she was shocked. Was she dreaming last night? Lin Yi didn't come. Chapter 1223. Chapter 1221. House Kang's new test, but the disappointment only lasted for a split second, and Xiao Xiao felt that she was being too stingy. Tang Yun was Lin Yi's wife, and she was the second. Lin Yi was with her first, and then Tang Yun. He was already treating her very well. What was there to be disappointed about? Lin Yi, honey, you're not being nice. You came out to see Tang Yun sis in the middle of the night. Xiao Xiao giggled. I got here at 4 in the morning. Lin Yi said, blushing. Tang Yun woke up as well. She was a little embarrassed. Xiao Xiao, I didn't ask him to come. He did it himself. All right. Yin Yin sis, I didn't say anything. Isn't this good? From now on, we'll spend half the night together. No one loses out. Xiao Xiao smiled. Yeah. Xiao Xiao's words made Tang Yun sigh. Future. Was there really a future? Did Lin Yi have a way to cure Xiao Xiao? After breakfast, the three of them drove to the school. As usual, they parked the car at the food street behind the school. Then, the three of them walked to the classroom. The 12th year was a busy one, and when Lin Yi got to school, the Miss and Shu were already there, reading in their seats. Meng Yao nodded when she saw Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao enter the classroom. There were a lot of people in the classroom, and it wasn't convenient to talk too much. She'd asked them during lunch break. Kong Xiaobo, on the other hand, was very excited today. He turned his head when he saw Lin Yi. Boss, sis-in-law, good morning. Sure. Xiao Xiao smiled and accepted the salute. Tang Yin would have blushed a lot, so Xiaobo called Tang Yin by her name most of the time when there were outsiders around. Why are you so excited today? Lin Yi frowned. Isn't Fin healed? I'm so happy. Xiaobo chuckled. After that, I brought her to meet my parents yesterday, and they were really satisfied. Isn't that great? Now it's settled. Linny nodded. That's right. I have to thank you, boss. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't have achieved what I have today. Kong Xiaobo said gratefully. Do you have anything to do with it or not? Lin Yi glared at him. If you have nothing to do, then hurry up and read. Lin Yi wanted to talk to Xiao Xiao about Su Shihan, but Kong Xiaobo just kept talking. There is something, of course there is something. Kong Xiaobo lowered his voice and said, Boss, guess who called me yesterday? Who? Lin Yi frowned and asked. He didn't expect Kong Xiaobo to play this kind of riddle. Kong Ming Ming, Kong Xiaobo said. Him? Why did he call you? Lin Yi was a little surprised. House Kong finally couldn't sit still anymore. They wanted to buy information from Kong Xiaobo again. He wanted to ask me for some insider information. Xiaobo said, Kong Xiaoming asked me a lot of questions, but the main point was basically Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company's import channels. He also asked me if we changed the formula for the injury medicine. Xiaobo said, Kong Xiaoming asked me a lot of questions. Oh, what did you say? Lin Yi didn't expect that Kong Ming Ming wasn't that stupid. He could think of the problem, but it was no wonder. House Kang's golden creation had a lot of expensive ingredients. Not only were the prices high, but there wasn't a lot of production either. The supply couldn't meet the demand. This was the main reason why House Kang's golden creation was always out of stock. It wasn't that House Kong wanted to star the market, but House Kong really didn't have enough ingredients to make so many medicines. Of course I didn't say anything. I said I'm only the vice president, and my main responsibility is the sales channel. Fatty Lai is in charge of the production, and Professor Guan is in charge of the research, so I don't know anything, Kong Xiaobo said with a smile. Okay, but if he wants to ask for more information and give you money, you don't have to reject him, Lin Yi said with a smile. Of course, there's a fat sheep giving me money. It's a waste not to take it. Kong Xiaobo nodded and said, All right, I said I'm in charge of sales, but Kong Ming Ming asked me about the factory price of our injury medicine. From what he said, it seems like he wants to buy in bulk. Buy in bulk? Lin Yi was stunned. Yeah, I think they want to buy our products and change the packaging before selling them. Kong Xiaobo said, That's possible, but let's see. If they want to buy it, then let them buy it. It's impossible to give them the factory price. Let them find a place to sell it. Lin Yi said nonchalantly. If House Kong really did that, then when House Kang's golden creation entered the market, it would be a great opportunity for him to attack them. They were digging their own graves. As long as this news was publicized at the right time, House Kang's medical group would be completely ruined. Lin Yi didn't believe that Dr. Kong would be so stupid as to do something like this. Okay, if Kong Ming Ming has any news, I'll let you know immediately. Kong Ming Ming nodded. Kong Ming Ming turned his head, and the physics teacher walked in, preparing to start the lesson. Lin Yi, naturally, had to give up on talking about superstars with Xiao Xiao and focus on the lesson. Xiao Xiao, on the other hand, seemed to be enjoying this time with Lin Yi. Deskmate, lover, this was a wonderful feeling. It was the best experience of her life, and she didn't want to miss out on the last moments of her life. At noon, Lin Yi, Xiao Xiao, Tang Yun, Meng Yao, and Yu Shu went to the second floor of the school cafeteria. There were a lot of people, and it wasn't good to eat in the public cafeteria. Some things weren't good to say, and they'd be a joke to others. The manager of the cafeteria, of course, knew Meng Yao, and so when Meng Yao requested it, he cleared out a room on the second floor and turned it into Meng Yao's private room. Meng Yao didn't like the privilege of a miss, but for Xiao Xiao, she had to use it. Otherwise, Lin Yi would have a big wife on his left, a small wife on his right, and she and Shu on top of that. What would people think if they saw that? Xiao Xiao, are you okay? Shu and I were shocked when we heard that you fainted yesterday. Meng Yao didn't know that Xiao Xiao was dying on the surface because Lin Yi and Tang Yin didn't have the chance to tell them yet. Chapter 1224. Chapter 1222. Yushu's framing Lin, Yi, and Tang Yun looked at each other. Since Xiao Xiao said that, it meant that she didn't want Meng Yao and Yushu to know about it for now. The two didn't bring it up again. Meng Yao and Yushu, on the other hand, knew about it, so they played along. I see, that's good. Meng Yao nodded. Then let's eat more food today. Yeah, let's not talk about that. Let's talk about something else. Xiao Xiao didn't want to bring the topic back to her illness. During class, Linny had already secretly texted Tang Yun, Meng Yao, and Yushu about Xiao Xiao's wish, so Meng Yao naturally brought the topic to Su Shirhan. I heard that Su Shirhan released a new single. Meng Yao pretended to be nonchalant. Oh, I think so. The entertainment channel introduced it yesterday, Yushu said after some thought. Really? I didn't hear about it. I was busy all day yesterday. I didn't have time to watch TV. Tang Yun turned to Xiao Xiao. Xiao Xiao, right? Do you like Su Shirhan? I do. Xiao Xiao's eyes lit up at the mention of Su Shirhan. I'm a fan of hers. I have all her albums. Is that so? Me and Shu too. Meng Yao said happily. So did you join Su Shirhan's fan club? Nope. The fan club events are all in the main cities. We haven't held any here, and we'd have to pay the membership fee for nothing. Xiao Xiao shook her head. That's true. It's a shame that Su Shirhan never held any events or concerts in Songsan. Tang Yun nodded. Yeah, I've always wanted to see her concerts, but I never got the chance, Xiao Xiao said, disappointed. Maybe if Su Shirhan holds another concert, we can go to another city? It's convenient now anyway, and we'll be there in a bit if we take a plane, Meng Yao suggested. Yeah, let's treat it as a vacation. Let Shield Bro accompany us. Yushu added. That. Xiao Xiao was a little moved. To be honest, she really did want to go, but she was a little worried. I'm fine, I don't expect to study well, but you guys do, right? The college entrance examination is not far away. If you go out at this time, you will fall behind in your homework. Xiao Xiao's worry wasn't unreasonable. She didn't know how long she had left, so she didn't care if she could get into college or not. But Tang Yun, Meng Yao, and Yushu were different. He could tell that they were hardworking and wanted to get into a good university. Wouldn't he be harming them if he dragged them to a concert? Oh, that little bit of homework is nothing to Genius Shu, and you need to strike a balance between work and rest. Yushu said indifferently, right, Yao Yao sis? Yeah, Meng Yao smiled bitterly. If she didn't do well in the exams, then she'd have to ask her father for help. With House Chu's current wealth, it wasn't a difficult thing to do, but it was a completely different feeling compared to the one she'd gotten herself. But Meng Yao didn't regret it. Life was the most precious thing, and she didn't know when Xiao Xiao would leave. She couldn't let her leave with regrets. That was why Meng Yao suggested this. I don't care. I can't get into college anyway. I'll just let Lenny spend the money. He's the big boss now. Tang Yun joked, easing the atmosphere. Yeah, if we can't get in, we'll have to rely on Shield Bro. Xiao Xiao, you'll have to rely on him too. Yushu said. Yeah, it's decided then. Xiao Xiao nodded. Everyone said that, and if she kept acting like that, she wouldn't appreciate it. At that moment, Xiao Xiao sensed something. Meng Yao and Yushu's attitude was weird today, as if they were purposely going along with her. Could it be that they knew the truth? It was possible. Maybe Lin, Yi, or Tang Yun had told them already, but they didn't point it out. At that thought, Xiao Xiao felt very touched. She was really lucky to have a few good friends like this before she died. Soon, the food was served. At this time, the chef in the cafeteria was free. The big pot of food was already ready, and the food the miss ordered was delivered quickly. Yao Yao sis, those kids from the orphanage are so pitiful. We get to eat such delicious food every day, but they have to calculate what they eat every day. Yushu sighed as she looked at the food on the table. Yeah, Shu, didn't you say you were going to have a donation event? What's your decision? Meng Yao was very concerned about the kids in the orphanage. What's going on? What kid from the orphanage? Tang Yun and Xiao Xiao paused. They didn't go to the orphanage with Lin yesterday, so naturally, they didn't know what was going on. It's like this. These things couldn't be explained in a few words, so he might as well start from when Gooden borrowed money from Yushaoka and tell her the whole story. There were no outsiders here, so Linny didn't hide anything. He even told them how he met Yushaoka. So that's what happened. Meng Yao and Yushu didn't know much about Yuxiaoka, but after hearing Lin Yi's story, they were just as shocked as Tang Yun and Xiao Xiao. It really isn't easy for Yuxiaoka, running around for the orphanage. She's a thief, but she's much better than those hypocrites. Meng Yao sighed. Yeah, that Foxong Lingshan really is despicable. She even hurt Yuxiaoka. If Yuxiaoka didn't meet Shield Bro and something happened to her, what would happen to the kids in the orphanage? Yushu said angrily. You can't say that. It's the law of the world for the police to catch a thief. Officer Song has her duty, but Yuxiaoka is a good thief. Tang Yin said fairly. Yin Yin sis, why are you so dumb? You're even putting in a good word for that Fox Lingshan. She's your love rival. Yushu said, panicking. Love rival? Tang Yin paused. When did Lingshan become her love rival? Chapter 1225. Can't just do it, huh? Tang Yun's eyes went wide, her face flushing red. This Yushu was way too fierce, daring to say anything she wanted. Shu, what are you talking about? Don't talk nonsense. Lingshan wouldn't do something like that, would she? Meng Yao had been misunderstood by Yushu once before, back in the cave, when she was sucking Lin Yi's blood, and Yushu said that it was something like that. Thinking about it, Lingshan might have been a misunderstanding as well. Plus, with her understanding of Lin Yi's personality, even if Lingshan wanted to do it, Lin Yi might not agree to it. The two weren't familiar with each other, and Lin Yi wasn't lustful at all. How could he take the bait so easily? If it was Tang Yin helping Lin Yi like that, Meng Yao would believe it, but if it was Lingshan, she wouldn't believe it at all. There's no one else here. What's there to be afraid of? Yushu said nonchalantly. Are you serious? That Lingshan is that cruel? Xiao Xiao asked. Of course it's fake. Lin Yi patted Xiao Xiao's head helplessly. How can we believe Shu's words? Why can't we? I'm the famous prophecy Shu. Everything I say basically comes true. Yushu said confidently. Shu, you can't just make random prophecies. Meng Yao glared at Yushu. Nothing was going on between Lin Yi and Lingshan yet, but if Yushu made a prophecy, things would really get out of hand. Yushu stuck out her tongue, realizing that her words weren't appropriate. Wasn't she pushing Lin Yi to Lingshan's side? All right, let's talk about the orphanage's donation. Lin Yi pulled the topic back. Yushu was getting further and further away from the topic, and Lin Yi naturally couldn't let her continue. If it were in the past, it wouldn't be a big deal. But now there really was something between Lin Yi and Lingshan. Lin Yi couldn't help but blush as he listened to Yushu's words. It was better to stop her from talking. Lin Yi is right. Let's study the fundraising event first. Meng Yao nodded. I didn't talk to Dad yesterday because of Xiao Xiao. I'll call him now and tell him about it. Well, it's better to tell Uncle Chu first. Lin Yi nodded and said, let Uncle Chu arrange it in the school. Talk to Principal Ding and have them organize it together. It will be more powerful than if we do it ourselves. Meng Yao took out her phone and dialed Peng Zhan's number. Yao Yao, why are you calling me at this hour? Peng Zhan was looking at some documents in his office. He was surprised to see his daughter calling him at this hour. Meng Yao had always been an independent girl. She wouldn't call Peng Zhan if there wasn't anything important. She had been in Songshan's first school for the past few years, and it was obvious that she needed his help. She was very different from the other misses. Daddy, there's something I need to trouble you with. Meng Yao said, Oh, my precious daughter is in some trouble? What do you need help with? Peng Zhan was a little surprised by Meng Yao's words. Back then, other than chasing Lin Yi away, Meng Yao had never asked him for anything else. It's like this. Shu and I want to organize a donation event in school. We want all the students to donate to the orphanage. Meng Yao said, Donation event? Donate to the orphanage? Peng Zhan paused. He didn't understand what his daughter meant. What orphanage? Daddy, it's like this. Meng Yao told Peng Zhan about what she saw at the orphanage yesterday. So that's how it is. Peng Zhan sighed after hearing his daughter's words. If that's the case, the orphanage's children are so pitiful. This donation event is very necessary. But Yao Yao, have you ever thought that although there are a lot of rich students in school, most of them are just using their parents' pocket money? Even if they were to donate, they wouldn't be able to donate too much. I'm guessing that the total amount of donations in a school is only around 100 to 200,000. It's like trying to put out a cart of firewood with a cup of water. But even if it's like trying to put out a cart of firewood with a cup of water, it's still a good thing for the orphanage. Meng Yao naturally understood this logic. It's better than me donating alone, right? HM, how about this? I'll let Principal Ding send out invitations in the name of the school to some of the famous people in Songsan. If they're willing to donate, it'll bring a considerable amount of income to the orphanage. After all, the donations from these people and the students aren't on the same level. Peng Zhan sighed. Oh, Meng Yao's eyes lit up. As a businessman, her father's vision was broad. Meng Yao was pleasantly surprised. That's great. There'll be more people donating now. I'll discuss this with old Ding. Peng Zhan said. Right, Yao Yao, how's Linny? Meng Yao paused. She looked at Linny. He's fine. What's wrong? That's good. Let him answer the phone. I have something to talk to him about. Peng Zhan said. Peng Zhan's attitude towards the Xiao family brothers was very firm yesterday, but he was still a little weak inside. After all, the Xiao family had 2 masters from the hidden house pie. This worried Peng Zhan a little. After the Xiao family brothers left yesterday, there was no movement. Today, Peng Zhan took a look at the company's stocks. There wasn't much movement. He didn't know what the Xiao family was going to do to him. Peng Zhan was very concerned about Lin Yi's safety. As long as Lin Yi wasn't injured and hospitalized, House Chu would be safe for now. Uncle Chu, what's up? Lin Yi took the phone and asked. Yi, how are you? I heard that you were very busy yesterday, so I didn't tell you in detail. I heard from the Xiao family brothers that some hero went to Yao Yao's villa and beat you to the hospital. Peng Zhan asked, Hero? Beat me to the hospital? Lin Yi paused. The Xiao family went to look for you again yesterday. Yeah, that's what happened yesterday. Peng Zhan didn't seem to be faking the shock in Lin Yi's voice. He was a little confused. Could it be that the Xiao family brothers came here to talk nonsense? There was no hero at all, and Lin Yi wasn't injured. Chapter 1226. Chapter 1224. Xie Yufeng's visit. Xiao Ji and Xiao Bin can't sit still anymore. Lin Yi was surprised, but there really isn't a hero. Wait, the hero they're talking about isn't Erguden, is it? Erguden? Who is he? Peng Zhan asked. It's a brother from my hometown. He's here to give me the medicine. What happened yesterday was actually like this. Lin Yi told Peng Zhan about how Guden went to get revenge on the lion and sent the 2 masters from Xiao family to the hospital. No wonder. They brought this powerful heir Guden to your place, thinking that he didn't know you and would hurt you, so they couldn't wait to cause trouble for me. Peng Zhan realized, but they still have the mood to cause trouble when their own masters are injured? They really did it. They're probably afraid that the news of the Pi masters being injured would spread, and they wouldn't be able to threaten you anymore. Lin Yi analyzed with a smile. That's why they're in such a rush. If that's the case, then I won't worry anymore. But that brother of yours is really strong. I heard that the 2 masters from House Pi are really strong, and they were sent to the hospital by him. If Xiao family knew that Good Master was your brother, they'd probably be scared out of their wits. Peng Zhan laughed, his worries gone. With Lin Yi and Heir Guden there, what was there to be afraid of from Xiao family? As arrogant as Xiao family was, he'd have Heir Guden send them to the hospital after the Pi masters were discharged. Don't worry about them. If they come looking for trouble again, I'll have Heir Guden scare them a little and get some money from them. It's impolite not to reciprocate. Lin Yi smiled. That's true. Then I'll go call Old Ding and discuss the fundraising. Yao Yao and Shu, you'll have to pay more attention to them. Peng Zhan said. After ending the call with Lin Yi, Peng Zhan called the headmaster of Songshan's first school, Bing Gong, and told him about the donation event. It just so happened that the first high school was going to hold a singing competition and invited celebrities to donate. They couldn't just ask for money without any ceremony, right? Therefore, Ding Bing Gong's idea was to combine the singing competition and the fundraising event. The school would select some of the better performances and hold a fundraising event at the same time as the finals. The celebrities who came to the charity would also participate in the singing and dancing competition selection. This would liven up the atmosphere and also show respect to the donors. Peng Zhan was quite satisfied with Bing Gong's suggestion. Bing Gong was a capable man, and he'd been managing Songshan's first school well for the past few years. This was also the reason why Peng Zhan had given him such a heavy responsibility. This was a private school, and a key school at that. The headmaster here had a lot of power, and if his abilities weren't up to par, then the school's reputation would be overtaken by other schools. But it wasn't enough to just have ability without self-control. If there was corruption, then the school's culture would plummet. If the headmaster took the initiative to accept gifts, then wouldn't the other teachers follow suit? The school's reputation would be ruined in a few years. But Bing Gong wasn't just a righteous man. He was also very capable. This was also the reason why Peng Zhan trusted him. After the matter was settled, Bing Gong gathered the vice headmaster and Dean Wang Jifeng to the meeting room to discuss the specifics of the donation event. Ling Shan walked out of Director Chen's office with a serious expression on her face, her eyebrows furrowed. There weren't so many things happening when Yang Huaijun was the captain, but she'd just taken over the position not long ago, and all the cases in Songshan came one after another. The missing persons cases were getting more and more intense, but there was no pattern to the people who went missing. They were from all walks of life: butchers, drivers, grocery sellers, trash collectors, hotel attendants, mall security guards, street sweepers, and so on. Ling Shan looked at the pile of files in front of her, feeling like she didn't know where to start. These people were all missing, and, without exception, they'd gotten into a small conflict with someone and then ran away after injuring the person. The injured people, on the other hand, weren't seriously injured and weren't at the level of being wanted for crimes. These types of cases were the easiest to overlook, and so the files they received were very simple. No one took it seriously, and only Ling Shan noticed that something wasn't right and reported it to Director Chun. Today, Director Chun was looking for Ling Shan to discuss the possibility of combining the cases and told her to solve them as soon as possible. Even if these cases were coincidental, she had to find the people who ran away. A lot of people ran away from their families, and they reported them to the police as well. It didn't have a huge impact on society, but it did cause panic in some people. In order to prevent the case from getting serious, Director Chun wanted Ling Shan to solve it as soon as possible. Ling Shan felt a headache coming on. Looking at the pile of files in front of her, she felt like she was looking for trouble. If she didn't report these thoughts back then, she wouldn't be in trouble today. But Ling Shan didn't regret it. She was a righteous person, and she couldn't just ignore these strange cases of people going missing. She couldn't do that. Dang, dang, dang. Someone knocked on the office door. Come in. Ling Shan didn't think much about it. After all, there were a lot of people looking for her during office hours. Ling Shan, are you busy? It was Xie Yufeng, one of the people Ling Shan didn't want to see the most. Ling Shan raised an eyebrow when she heard the voice. What are you doing here? Haha, isn't it already noon? I wanted to invite you for lunch, but I know you're busy and you weren't in your room when I came. Your colleague said you went to the director to discuss work, so I went out to buy lunch. With that, he waved the bag in his hand and smiled. You haven't eaten yet, right? Let's eat together. Ling Shan frowned. Without a doubt, Xie Yufeng was being very considerate. If it were Lin Yi, Ling Shan would be overjoyed. But this was Xie Yufeng, and that was a different story. I'm not hungry. You eat. I still have work to do. Ling Shan looked at Yufeng faintly before lowering her head and looking at the file in front of her. Chapter 1227. Chapter 1225. Song Lingra 1 had to admit that Yufeng was quite good at picking up girls. One sentence closed the distance between him and Ling Shan. They were both practitioners, and they had a common topic. Previously, when he was repeatedly rejected in school, it was only because the girls that he had taken a fancy to and wanted to pursue already had someone in their heart. That was why they were so cold to him. But what Yufeng didn't know was that Ling Shan had someone else in her heart as well. Then leave it there. I'll eat it later. Ling Shan couldn't just tell Yufeng to leave. After all, Hao Su's face was there, and she knew the situation Hao Song was in right now. She didn't want to offend Hao Su if she could. Eat it now. It'll get cold soon. It won't taste good. Yufeng said as he took out a box and put it on Ling Shan's table, smiling. Grandpa Song told me to take care of you. If you don't eat it, I won't be able to explain it to him. I can only call Grandpa Song and ask for forgiveness now. Ling Shan was pissed when she saw that Yufeng was really going to take out his phone. This guy was using a chicken feather as a token of authority. But Ling Shan, naturally, wouldn't let him bother her grandpa with something like this. She could only take it helplessly. All right, let's eat first. That's right. Yufeng smiled and put his phone away. He took out another box and sat in front of Ling Shan's desk, eating. Looking at Yufeng eating in front of her, Ling Shan felt that the atmosphere was a little weird, making her very uncomfortable. She could only eat as she read the files, not giving Yufeng a chance to talk to her. You don't have to work when you eat, right? There has to be time for rest, right? Yufeng said. There's a case, time is tight. Ling Shan said faintly. What case? Tell me, I'll help you analyze it. 2 people is better than 1, right? There's a saying that 2 heads are better than zhuge liang. Yufeng said. Sorry, it's a secret. Ling Shan, naturally, wouldn't give Yufeng the chance to talk to her. Ling Shan's reply made Yufeng quite troubled, but there was nothing he could do about it. She said it was a secret, after all, so he couldn't just keep asking. After finishing her lunchbox, Ling Shan pushed it to the side and continued reading the case files. Yufeng, on the other hand, sat in front of her for a while. He didn't have anything else to do, so he got up and packed his lunchbox. All right, Ling Shan, go to your stuff first. I'll come see you tomorrow. I won't be at the station tomorrow. I'm going to East Ocean City. Ling Shan had wanted to go to Donghai tomorrow morning, but after hearing what Yufeng said, she'd change her mind. She'd leave at noon to avoid him. Ling Shan was going to Donghai to see Huaijuan, to show him the case file, and ask for his opinion and analysis. Huaijuan wasn't just Ling Shan's master. He was also her big brother, the vice director in charge of criminal investigation. So it made sense that Ling Shan wanted to talk to him about work. It might seem a little useless, but Ling Shan didn't mind. She was brought up by Yang Bro, and she was his follower. What was so embarrassing about asking him for help? Huaijuan had been in Donghai for a while now, working on a case. Ling Shan had to go to Donghai if she wanted to see him. I see, how are you going? Do you want me to drive you? I bought a car here, a limited edition Lamborghini. Yufeng said, I have a car, I'm going to work. What's with you driving me? Ling Shan was speechless. Was this guy sick in the head? Driving her out in a Lamborghini? Wouldn't people think that she was corrupt? Yufeng saw that Ling Shan was adamant on rejecting him, so he could only leave. After sending him off, Ling Shan shook her head. This guy was really annoying, even bringing up her grandpa's name. What would she do if he came to her office every day? Ling Shan's phone rang, and she pulled it out. It was an unknown number. Ling Shan subconsciously thought that it was Yufeng. She didn't want to pick it up, but what if it wasn't him? There were a lot of unknown numbers that called her every day, and some of them were related to cases. Ling Shan still picked it up. Hello, I'm Ling Shan. Ling Shan said after picking up the phone. Sis. A pleasant female voice came from the other side. Rui. Ling Shan paused. Why are you here? Aren't you in training? You can't just call? It was Ling Shan's sister, Ling Rui. She'd been in training a few years ago, and she could only call her family during Chinese New Year. Otherwise, there was no contact at all. So when Ling Rui called, Ling Shan was both surprised and happy. Hee sis, I'm almost free. This year is the 4th year of special training, and he received the Medal of Warrior from the training camp with excellent results. Song Ling Rui said happily. Ling Shan counted with her fingers. In a flash, Ling Rui had finished her training already. Time really did fly. Thinking back to that time, the little girl who'd cried her eyes out for her had actually gotten a warrior's medal. It made Ling Shan very emotional. 4 years ago, in order to prevent Hao Song from falling and for Ling Rui to become stronger, her grandpa decided to send his sister to the harshest mercenary training camp. Thinking back to that weak, crying sister of hers actually got the highest honor in the training camp, Congratulations, Xiao Rui. Lingshan said sincerely. Then what's your decision? Are you going to stay in a training camp or come back? Let's not talk about me first. I just call Grandpa. Sis, I heard that you have a boyfriend? Ling Rui asked, curious. Boyfriend? Ling Shan's face darkened. You heard about House Yuzu Feng, right? I don't like him. Ling Shan didn't have anything to hide from her own sister. If she liked him, she liked him. If she didn't, she didn't. Chapter 1228. Brother-in-law. I don't like him anyway. I hate him whenever I see him. Plus, he's not the only mystic mid-phase peak. Ling Shan humph. Do you have someone else in mind, sis? And this person is very strong? A master too? Song Ling Rui and Ling Shan had been close since they were young. Their minds were connected. So Song Ling Rui was suspicious the moment Ling Shan opened her mouth. Yeah, Ling Shan didn't deny it. She couldn't tell her grandpa about this, but she could tell her sister. Rui's mouth was tight, too. He as expected. Song Ling Rui said excitedly. Quickly tell me about brother-in-law. How powerful is he? Is he as strong as that Xie Yufeng? Much stronger than him. Ling Shan's heart was filled with sweetness at the thought of Lin. What's Yufeng? He might have some strength, but who knows how many elixirs he used to accumulate it. He's just a young master, dumb and not responsible at all. But when did the young generation of experts become so many? I'm not in the country, but it seems like only house you can break through to mystic from noble houses, right? At this point, Song Ling Rui's tone suddenly became sluggish. Wow, sis, is brother-in-law from a hidden family? I don't think so. He's not from a noble house. Ling Shan thought about Lin Yi's situation and denied Ling Rui's guess. Lin Yi wasn't from a noble house, and he shouldn't be from a hidden house either. Ling Shan had never heard of a hidden house coming out to be a common world girl's bodyguard. Trained by himself? A mystic? Ling Rui's eyes widened. His background is a bit mysterious, probably similar to yours from some training camp. Ling Shan frowned. She'd known Lin Yi for so long, but she didn't even know Lin Yi's background. Wow, this brother-in-law of mine is so mysterious. I'll have to meet him. Sis, just how strong is he? Ling Rui was getting more and more curious. I'm not too sure myself, but it's all thanks to him that I was able to reach golden class late phase peak. Ling Shan really didn't know how strong Lin Yi was. She heard that he beat up Ma Zhu, a mystic mid-phase peak physical practitioner, half to death. So he shouldn't be weak, ah? Brother-in-law helped you improve your strength? Wah 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 wah. Sister, you've already cultivated together? Song Ling Rui was very gossipy and exclaimed, You've actually already done it. Sister, quickly tell me, did it feel good doing that thing with brother-in-law? How does it feel? Ahem. Ling Shan almost threw the phone away. She blushed and coughed twice. Xiao Rui, what are you talking about? How could a child's thoughts be so complicated? What do you mean by done or not done? There's nothing going on between me and him. There's nothing between us. Ling Shan said that, but she was grumbling inwardly. She was offering herself up for free, and Lin Yi didn't even want to do it. Just thinking about it made Ling Shan feel suffocated. Was she that bad? Sis, I'm already 18, okay? I'm already an adult. Song Ling Rui wasn't happy that her sister always treated her like a child. Then how did you improve your strength without cultivating together? Speaking of which, you might not believe it, but he used the method of transferring qi into my body, and I broke through. Ling Shan felt that it was unbelievable every time she thought about it. Lin Yi was too strong, wasn't he? He could improve like that. Song Ling Rui was stunned. He used his own qi to improve your strength? Wah sis, brother-in-law loves you so much. I'm so jealous, so romantic. It's all right, Ling Shan thought. According to what you said, he also loves dogs. But she couldn't say that. Even if she was her own sister, she was too embarrassed to say it. Hearing Ling Shan's casual words, Song Ling Rui thought that Ling Shan did it on purpose. She was envious. I'll definitely find a boyfriend like brother-in-law in the future to help me improve my strength. You're just a kid. What's there to look for? Ling Shan didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Right, Rui. let's not talk about this for now. When are you coming back? I'll have to wait a little longer. I can graduate after I get the medal. Song Ling Rui said, when that time comes, I'll have to discuss with Grandpa whether I'll go to work or come back to university. It'll all depend on Grandpa's arrangements. Lingshan nodded. Song Ling Rui was only 18, the right age to go to university. It was indeed a little early for her to start working after coming back. She should learn more in school and broaden her horizons so that she could help Grandpa handle the Song family's affairs in the future and wait for her brother to grow up and officially take over the Song family. That's right. If you want to go to school, come to Songsan. We sisters can see each other often, Lingshan said. Of course, I still want to see brother-in-law. I can help you check him out. If he can't pass me, I won't recognize him as my brother-in-law. Song Ling Rui said with a smile. Take care of yourself first. Kids shouldn't get involved in adult matters. Lingshan's heart was beating like a drum. Lin, he wasn't her boyfriend at all, and if Rui said something inappropriate, she'd lose face. So it was best not to let her get involved in this. Let's talk later. I have something to do here. I'll hang up first, sis. Someone was calling Song Ling Rui, and so she hurriedly said, and was about to hang up, I'll call you when I'm free. I'm always free now. Looking at the phone, Lingshan shook her head, her gloomy mood lightening up a lot. She shook her head and went back to her work. Xie Yufeng's face was a little dark after leaving the police station. Even an idiot could tell that Lingshan didn't like him. Xie Yufeng, who had everything he wanted in the house, had never been treated so coldly before. Even in other houses, the head of those noble houses would look up to him when he showed off his identity as the heir of House Yu. This Lingshan was acting all high and mighty. What was so great about it? Wasn't she just a golden-class late-phase peak who looked a little prettier? He was still a mystic mid-phase peak. How dare she give him that attitude? See how I'll deal with her when I get married. Xie Yufeng spat on the side of the road. Chapter 1229. Chapter 1227. Kidnapping Xiao Xiao motherfucker. Yufeng was about to punch him when he realized that he was standing in front of the police station as a noble house disciple. He wasn't afraid of anything, but he was afraid that Lingshan would see his actions and her impression of him would be even worse. It'd be even harder for him to get her. So Yufeng swallowed his anger and took out 100 kwai from his pocket and gave it to the old man. It's 200 now. The old man kept his head down and continued to write. How come it's 200? Yufeng couldn't hold it in anymore, but his heart was about to explode. How dare they raise the price? You were cursing people just now, using uncivilized language in public. Fine 100, the old man said. Here. Yufeng was so pissed that he could see stars. He took out another 100 and gave it to the old man before walking to the parking lot not far away. How are you, Han? Does her head still hurt? If you don't feel well, I'll help you cancel the celebration tonight. The manager, Wang Sis, touched Shirhan's forehead and asked, It's okay. I took the painkiller. It's a little better. A smile appeared on Shirhan's pale face. Everyone in the company is waiting. How can I not go? They're celebrating for me. So what if you don't go? Your single just came out, and it instantly took the top of all the ringtone downloads, earning a lot of money for the company. Even if you don't go, what can they say? Sister Wang said disapprovingly. Moreover, your headache is not a secret in the company. The boss also knows about it. I'll get ready now, Shirhan said and got up from the bed, preparing to wash her face and change her clothes. Man, Han, you're a superstar now. You need to put on airs sometimes. You don't need to work so hard. Wang Sis said helplessly. It's okay, this is what I like to do. Of course I have to work hard. Shirhan smiled. By the way, Xiao Han, I saw news about a famous doctor on the internet. It is said that he is a genius doctor who can cure many difficult and complicated diseases. Many famous people's diseases have been cured by him. Everyone admires him very much. Sister Wang suddenly patted her forehead, remembering this important news. HM, is this for real? Sometimes, the news on the internet was inaccurate. Aren't there a lot of people on the internet saying that my private life is a mess? Shirhan smiled and didn't take it seriously. Xiaoan, this is different. Wang Sis said, "This person is called Zhao Yao Wang. I've asked around. He's really famous in Songshan City. He's really treated a lot of celebrities, and all of them were cured. I heard that. He's an expert from some big family. Oh, can he really cure my illness?" Su Shirhan was tempted by Wang Sis's words. Wang Sis had a lot of experience in society, and she was reliable. If she didn't have any experience in judging, she would have been cheated to death already. She wouldn't be able to help Su Shirhan financially. Therefore, since Sister Wang said this, it meant that she had a certain degree of certainty about the authenticity of this matter. That was why she told me about it. No matter what, there's no harm in trying. Wang Sis said, "I'll ask around these 2 days. If it's possible, we'll go. As long as there's hope, we have to try. Otherwise, with your illness, you really can't go on like this." "All right, I'll trouble you then, Wang Sis." Shirhan nodded and entrusted the matter to Wang Sis. Tonight, Xiao Xiao sat in Lin Yi's car, as usual after school, returning home. Lin Yi and Tang Yin didn't go up. After all, Lin Yi stayed here yesterday, and he should go back to House Chu's villa tonight. Tang Yin, on the other hand, had just moved yesterday and didn't have the chance to stay overnight. Naturally, she had to go back today. Xiao Xiao opened the door with the key and walked into the living room, but a handkerchief suddenly covered her mouth. Xiao Xiao's heart skipped a beat. She wanted to struggle and scream, but before she could, she fainted. The handkerchief had ether on it, and it could make people lose consciousness quickly. There wasn't a lot of ether, so Xiao Xiao fainted quickly and woke up quickly. When Xiao Xiao woke up, she realized that she was tied up with rope, sitting on the sofa, unable to move. Beside her was a man she didn't know. Who are you?" Xiao Xiao asked subconsciously. "You're awake?" The man looked at Xiao Xiao and looked at the time on his watch. He said faintly, "Earlier than I expected. Help!" Xiao Xiao suddenly screamed for help. She didn't know this unfamiliar man, but he tied her up. It was obvious that he was up to no good. The man didn't stop Xiao Xiao, only looking at her weirdly. He said faintly, "This is your own house. Don't tell me you don't know. I looked at it just now, and your apartment has really good soundproofing. Moreover, your room is covered with a ceiling and wallpaper, which imperceptibly increases the soundproofing factor. So, to quote a very classic saying, you can shout to your heart's content. Even if you shout yourself hoarse, no one will hear you." Xiao Xiao wasn't an idiot. She shut her mouth after hearing the man's words. She'd only done it in a moment of desperation, and now that she understood that calling for help wouldn't work, she naturally wouldn't waste her efforts. "Why did you grab me?" Xiao Xiao asked. "Did you grab the wrong person?" "I don't even know you. I don't even know you. I just rented this place 2 days ago. Are you looking for the previous tenant?" "All right, stop pretending. Don't think I don't know your Xiao Xiao." The man waved his hand impatiently, stopping Xiao Xiao. "Keep your little smarts to yourself. I'm looking for you." Xiao Xiao was a little dejected. She wanted to trick this guy into letting her go. She didn't expect him to know her, and even know her name. All her previous plans were useless. This guy clearly had a purpose, and it wasn't a random kidnapping. Chapter 1230. Chapter 1228. Kidnapping. "You can't make the decision even if I told you." The man said faintly, "You're just a bargaining chip. I'm looking for your old man, Feng Tianlong." "You're looking for my dad?" Xiao Xiao's eyes darted at the man in front of her, wondering how she could escape his control. "I have nothing to say to you." The man looked at Xiao Xiao. "I don't want to waste my time with you. Keep your little thoughts to yourself. Don't think I don't know what you're thinking." Xiao Xiao was a bit troubled. This guy clearly wasn't an idiot. He knew that she wanted to escape, so he didn't want to talk to her at all. With that, the man ignored Xiao Xiao and called Tianlong. "Hello, I'm Tianlong." Tianlong's voice came from the other side. "Feng Tianlong?" "Hello." The man laughed when he heard Tianlong's voice. "Hearing your voice makes me very happy. Who are you?" The man's tone made Tianlong pause. "Why are you looking for me?" "Of course I'm looking for you." The man looked at Xiao Xiao. "Tianlong, your precious daughter is in my hands." "How is it?" "You must be very shocked after hearing this, right?" Qianlong's heart tightened. Xiao Xiao was in his hands. Who was this person? What was he planning? Was it really like what he said, or was it just a scam? Who are you? What's your purpose? Tianlong was someone who did big things. He was nervous, but his tone was calm. Tianlong, don't tell me you've forgotten who your enemy is already? The man laughed coldly. It seems like your memory isn't that good. If you don't even tell me your purpose and identity, then there's no need for us to talk anymore. Tianlong said faintly. He knew that if this guy really kidnapped Xiao Xiao, then he must have a plan. Instead of guessing, he might as well just tell him. Feng Tianlong couldn't just make random guesses. There was a system of secrecy involved. What if the person was a spy sent by someone? So Tianlong was sure that if he stopped guessing, the other party would tell him the truth. As expected, after a slight pause, the other party sounded angry. Feng Tianlong, if you dare to hang up the phone, your daughter is dead. Tell me your purpose. There's no need to threaten me. Besides, whether or not my daughter is really in your hands is another matter. Feng Tianlong said as he glanced at Li Yifeng. Li Yifeng immediately understood and began to quickly give orders to the technicians to locate the listener. Haha, Feng Tianlong, my goal is simple. I want to use your daughter's life to exchange for the safety of our second head in charge. The man set his goal. He wanted to lead Feng Tianlong by the nose and get some insider information from him, but Feng Tianlong wasn't someone to be trifled with. The man's plan was ruined, so he could only say his real goal. Oh, second leader? Feng Tianlong paused. At this moment, he was completely sure of the man's identity. From Red Conches? Ha! It seems that Mr. Feng isn't stupid. That's right. I'm from Red Conches. The man laughed. Since you know who I am, just one sentence. Do you agree to my conditions? You want me to release your second head in charge? Feng Tianlong frowned and asked faintly. The person this man was looking for was the baldy that Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao captured at the underground racetrack. Red Conches was an international criminal organization. Since Feng Tianlong captured their second head in charge, how could he let him go? But if the other party really had Xiao Xiao as a bargaining chip, what should he choose? Should he choose justice or family? Feng Tianlong didn't think that as a secret agent, he would have to make a choice. At this moment, his heart was unsettled for the first time. Although on the surface, he still looked calm and steady. Yes, it seems that Mr. Feng understands what I mean, the man said. What you choose is up to you, Mr. Feng. Your daughter should only be 18 or 19, right? She's at the age where she's as beautiful as a flower. It'd be a pity if she died like this. How do I know if Xiao Xiao is with you or not? Feng Tianlong looked at Li Yifeng, who shook his head at him. Evidently, Li Yifeng hadn't found the other party's location yet. The other party is using a number from a foreign telecom company. We need to crack a few gateways. Li Yifeng quickly wrote this on a piece of paper and put it in front of Feng Tianlong. Feng Tianlong nodded slightly, understanding Li Yifeng's meaning. Li Yifeng wanted him to continue stalling for time so that the technicians could crack it. Haha, Feng Tianlong, don't think that I don't know what you're planning. The man laughed in disdain. Don't you just want to talk to me a bit more to stall for time? So that your subordinates can find my current location, right? Oomph. You can think whatever you want. I just want to confirm if my daughter is really with you or not. Feng Tianlong didn't think that his plan would be seen through. But even so, Feng Tianlong wouldn't admit it. Okay, then I'll let you hear your daughter's voice so that you can be at ease. Then we can discuss if this deal is feasible or not. The man said nonchalantly and turned to Xiao Xiao. Little girl, say something to your father. Xiao Xiao shut her mouth and didn't say anything. Xiao Xiao had been eavesdropping on the conversation between the man and her father, and when she heard that her father was trying to stall for time to locate them, all she could think of was how she could help her father stall for time. When she heard that the man wanted her to talk to her father, Xiao Xiao thought of an idea. If she didn't speak, wouldn't she be able to stall for time? Let her father locate her location? So Xiao Xiao shut her mouth and didn't say anything, because this was the only way her father wouldn't be able to confirm whether she was in the man's hands or not. This was the only thing Xiao Xiao could do. Chapter 1231. I don't have long to live, stupid girl. I told you to talk. What are you thinking? The man raged when he saw that Xiao Xiao didn't say anything. But Xiao Xiao still didn't say anything, as if she didn't hear what the man said. Little girl, do you want to die? Do you believe that I won't rip your clothes off right now and fuck you to death? The man got even angrier when Xiao Xiao didn't say anything. Xiao Xiao gritted her teeth and didn't say anything. Say, are you putting on an act? Tianlong had half believed the man's words, thinking that Xiao Xiao was in his hands, but now he was starting to doubt it. After all, Tianlong felt that if the man really was from Red Conches and wanted to save their second head in charge, he wouldn't lie to him and say that Xiao Xiao was in their hands. There was no point in doing that. But now, Tianlong didn't believe it. If Xiao Xiao was in his hands, why didn't she move at all? This girl's pretty smart, knowing to buy time for you. The man smiled instead of getting angry. But it's fine, I'll buy time. Tianlong, believe it or not, it's up to you. But do you know why I'm still talking to you when I know you're locating me? Do you know why? Tianlong smiled coldly. He didn't like the feeling of being led around by the nose, so he didn't say anything. He didn't say that he didn't want to know, and he didn't say that he didn't want to know. If the man wanted to say it, then he'd say it. If he didn't want to say it, then there was no point in asking. Haha, I can tell you why even if you don't ask. The man smiled. Because I'm not afraid of you locating me at all. I can tell you my identity very clearly. I'm a death warrior trained by Red Conches. You know what that means, right? You don't need me to explain it to you, do you? But I think our Dragon Edge Special Agent Captain definitely knows what a death warrior is. Feng Tianlong's face changed when he heard the man's words. Of course, he knew what a death soldier was. It was normal for an international criminal organization like Red Conches to have trained death soldiers. Such a terrorist organization would often carry out deadly missions and assassinations. That was when they needed death soldiers. Death warriors, as the name suggested, referred to warriors who dare to die. The training these people received throughout their lives was all for the sake of preparing for the final moment. Many of these people had already been deceived and were willing to die for the organization. They did not care about their lives at all. These kinds of people were the most difficult to deal with. Even if they were captured, they would not be able to get any useful clues out of them. No matter how you tortured them or how you promised them wealth and glory, these people did not care at all. As long as they had the chance, they would commit suicide. What are you trying to say? Tianlong's heart tightened. Today's matter wouldn't end well. Don't you understand what I'm saying? My goal is to save the second head. It doesn't matter if I die or not. Saving the second head is the only meaning of my existence. The man didn't feel that there was anything wrong with what he said. Instead, he said it as a matter of fact. I've already hidden explosives and detonators in my room. You can come and capture me or kill me. But let me tell you, the remote control for the explosives is implanted in my body. Once my heart stops beating, the remote control will be activated. I think these explosives are enough to blow up this 20-something floor building. At that time, not only will your daughter die, but all the innocent people in this building will also be killed. Waha! Thinking about it, my death is worth it. So many people will die with me. Tianlong was shocked and angry after hearing the man's words. He didn't suspect that the man was lying at all. Red Conches was a criminal organization with a strong sense of terror, and this man was a death soldier. What he said was most likely true. What about me? Does it feel good? Also, let me warn you, don't try to capture me alive. If I'm caught, I'll bite the poison in my mouth and commit suicide. The bomb will still go off. The man warned, you're not afraid that I'll evacuate the people in the building first? Tianlong smiled instead of getting angry. Wouldn't you lose a lot of bargaining chips then? Sure, no problem. You can evacuate the people in the building, but I don't believe that you'll abandon your daughter. The man said nonchalantly, my goal is simple. You just need to release the second head of our organization, and I'll leave after I get news that he's safe. I won't blow up the building anymore. Otherwise, you know the consequences. Xiao Xiao looked at the man in shock. She didn't expect him to be this cruel. He was a death soldier after all. He didn't care about life and death, and he was willing to pay with his life to achieve his goal. Xiao Xiao was worried that the innocent people in the building would be dragged into this. But after hearing the conversation between her father and the man, she gritted her teeth and made up her mind. Xiao Xiao knew very well that once her father made the decision to release the second head of the Red Conches, her father's career would be ruined. He'd even be punished. Although Tian Long was the one who caught him, he couldn't just let him go like that. Xiao Xiao didn't want her father to make a mistake because of this. Her father had been a righteous man all his life, and he'd given up a lot for his career. How could she let him lose his career because of her? She didn't have many days left to live anyway. Her illness had flared up twice, and each time was more serious than the last. He had used up a lot of qi and blood to save her. If this went on, it'd only be a burden to him. She was going to die sooner or later, so she might as well make her death meaningful. Dad, don't mind me. Don't listen to him. After you evacuate the people, just let him blow me up. I don't have long to live anyway. Xiao Xiao suddenly yelled. Tianlong's heart skipped a beat when he heard his daughter's voice, but after hearing her words, he felt emotional. Tears almost came out of his eyes. His daughter was willing to make such a sacrifice for him. Chapter 1232. Haggle over price, but even knowing this, Tianlong didn't want his daughter to die. He was willing to give up his life for her to live one more day of happiness. Girl, what are you yelling for? The man wasn't expecting Xiao Xiao to say something like that all of a sudden. He was pissed as he glared at Xiao Xiao. Shut your mouth. Dad, I love you. If there's a next life, I'll be your daughter again. Help me tell any honey that I love him too. If there's a next life, I'll be his concubine again. Tell Tangyan sis, and woo. Don't cover my mouth. Woo. Xiao Xiao was struggling. I'll let you speak. I'll let you speak. The man grabbed a towel and stuffed it into Xiao Xiao's mouth, blocking her mouth. Finally, he couldn't hear Xiao Xiao's voice anymore. He picked up the phone with a dark face, furious. Fuck. Was there anyone in this world who wasn't afraid of death? He was a death warrior, of course, but was Xiao Xiao a death warrior too? The man's lungs were about to explode. It was a good situation for him, but Xiao Xiao's fearless declaration made him nervous. Phone Tianlong. Are you sure that your daughter is in my hands now? The man's voice was a little suppressed. Girl, you've watched too many movies about heroism. You're not going to let your daughter die, are you? Let me think about it. Tianlong sighed. I can't make the decision on this. Your second head in charge has been transferred to Yanjing. I need to ask for instructions from the higher-ups. I don't care if you can make the decision or not. I just want results. The man said, I'll give you 2 hours, enough for you to negotiate. If there's no news in 2 hours, I'll activate the bomb and blow you up with your daughter. Of course, I'll die too. Wait, 2 hours isn't enough. Time's too tight, and it's after work. I can't guarantee that there'll be results in 2 hours. Tianlong stopped the man from hanging up. All right, then I'll give you some more time. 3 hours should be enough, right? The man nodded. He didn't really care about the time. As long as Feng Tianlong was sincere in negotiating, he didn't mind giving him more time. He was prepared to die anyway, so he wasn't afraid of what Feng Tianlong would do. 5 hours. Feng Tianlong looked at his watch and said, I'll give you an answer in 5 hours. You know that I don't want my daughter to die. I have to fight for more time to work. Deal. The man relaxed after hearing Feng Tianlong's words. The length of time wasn't the main point. The main point was that since Feng Tianlong wanted to extend the time, it meant that he didn't want to give up his daughter's life. He wanted to save her, and so the more it was like this, the happier the man was. He was afraid that Tianlong wouldn't care about Xiao Xiao. After that, the man didn't waste any more time and hung up the phone. Fu dash, Tianlong let out a long breath. He didn't feel good in his heart, especially when he heard his daughter's last few words. Tianlong had the urge to cry. How sensible was his daughter? She didn't want to put him in a difficult position and was prepared to die. But how could he bear to see his daughter die? Captain Feng, we found their location. They're in the Lidhua Shuyan district, building A19. We don't know the exact floor, but the investigators have arrived at the scene and are checking the signal. I'm sure we'll have results soon. Li Yifeng reported the current situation to Feng Tianlong. I understand. Little Li, keep an eye on it. Let me know immediately if there's any news. Feng Tianlong nodded. It was obvious that they didn't care about his investigation, so if he was right, it would be easy for him to lock onto the location of the signal. He should have an answer soon. But what could he do even if he knew their location? The enemy wasn't afraid of death at all. Once they died, the bomb would be activated. This was a hedgehog that couldn't be touched. Not only couldn't they assassinate him, but they also had to ensure his safety. Otherwise, not only would his daughter lose her life, but the entire building would also be instantly destroyed. Tianlong knew about Qianhua Shuyan District. It was one of the most luxurious districts in Songshan. The people who lived there were either rich or powerful. If there was a big explosion here, it would have a huge impact on society. So Tianlong couldn't make a decision at this moment. Helpless, Tianlong could only report to his superiors. This was too big. He didn't agree to let them go, and the consequences of not letting them go were severe. He could only let the bureau chief decide. Bureau Chief Xia, I'm Feng Tianlong. Tianlong reported the sudden incident to Bureau Chief Xia with a gloomy mood on the other side. Bureau Chief Xia didn't reply immediately. He asked Tianlong to evacuate the other residents in the building and wait for a meeting before making a decision. Little Feng, don't worry too much. Don't worry, from my personal perspective, I don't want anything to happen to Xiao Xiao. After all, she's your and Susu's only child. Susu is also an old agent here. I can't let her die with grievances, right? Bureau Chief Xia comforted Tianlong, but I'm not the only one in charge here. There are some things that must be discussed in a meeting. I understand, Bureau Chief Xia. No matter what the final result is, I will obey. Tianlong said. Okay, don't think too much. All right, time is running out. I'm going to call for a meeting. Bureau Chief Xia said. Tianlong hung up the phone and laid on the chair. His eyes were solemn. At this moment, he seemed to have aged a lot. Captain Feng, don't worry too much. Why don't you give Lin Bro a call? Maybe he has a solution? Li Yifeng suggested. Li Yifeng knew Lin Yi's capabilities. Not only was he skilled in medicine, but he was also skilled in martial arts. Last time, the second head of the Red Conches was captured by Lin Yi. Maybe Lin Yi had a solution. Okay, we have to talk to him about this. After all, he's Xiao Xiao's boyfriend. Tianlong nodded and picked up the phone. If it was yesterday, Tianlong might not have told Lin Yi about this. After all, his promise with Lin Yi was to pretend to be Xiao Xiao's boyfriend. Chapter 1233. Chapter 1231. Ling Shan's little thoughts? Uncle Feng, what's up? Lin Yi had just gotten back to the villa when he received Tianlong's call. Lil Yi, Xiao Xiao's been kidnapped by Red Conch's death warriors. Tianlong didn't waste time and told Lin Yi what happened. The death warriors from Red Conches want to threaten me to release their second head, the baldy you caught at the underground racetrack. Xiao Xiao's been kidnapped? Lin Yi was shocked. As for who did it, Lin Yi didn't really care. He was only worried about Xiao Xiao's safety. Do you know where she is? I'll be right there. Xiao Xiao's current location is at Qianhua waterfront, but the situation is a bit complicated. How about this? I'll tell you the details when you get there. Tianlong said. I'm heading to Qianhua waterfront now, so let's meet at the entrance. Do you know my car? And okay, I'll be right there. Lin Yi was panicking. Tianlong mentioned that the kidnapper was a death warrior. Lin Yi naturally understood what a death warrior meant. These types of people were the hardest to deal with. They didn't care about the consequences because they weren't afraid of death at all. Lin Yi quickly put on his clothes and left his room. The Miss and Shu were in the living room, using a tablet to search for the latest news about the celebrity Su Shirhan. They wanted to see if she had any plans to hold a concert soon. Since they discussed it with Xiao Xiao, naturally, they had to put it into action. Seeing Lin Yi come out of his room and put on his clothes, Meng Yao raised her head curiously. Lin Yi, you're going out? Xiao Xiao's been kidnapped. I need to go out for a bit. Lin Yi nodded, his face serious. Don't wait for me tonight. Help me call Tang Yun and tell her that you guys don't need to worry about me. I'll be fine. Ah. Meng Yao and Yushu were shocked by what Lin Yi said, but they didn't ask much when they saw Lin Yi looking like he was in a hurry. After all, time was of the essence, and they didn't want to waste any more of Lin Yi's time. All right, be careful, Lin Yi replied and left the villa, driving Xiao Xiao's Land Rover to Qianhua Waterfront. Lin Yi wasn't unfamiliar with Qianhua Waterfront District. When he went to look for the shareholder of Pengzhan Industries, Xie Guanghua, his house was in Qianhua Waterfront District. Therefore, Lin Yi was very familiar with the route. He sprinted all the way and soon arrived at the entrance of the neighborhood by the Lidhua River. At this moment, the entrance of Qianhua Shuiyin District was brightly lit. Various police cars were parked everywhere, and a few fire engines from the Armed Police Department had also arrived. After Lin Yi's car entered the cordoned area, he was stopped by 2 police officers. "What are you doing here?" "You're Ling Shan's subordinate," Lin Yi asked, noticing the familiarity of the officer. "Yes, you are." The officer paused and looked at Lin Yi carefully. He did look familiar, but he wasn't sure who he was. "Feng Tianlong asked me to come here. You can go and ask for his permission." Lin Yi said, "You're looking for Captain Feng? Please get off the car and follow me." The officer saw that not only did Lin Yi know Song Lingshan, but he also knew Feng Tianlong. Naturally, he didn't need to ask for permission and brought Lin Yi to Lingshan. Of course, he didn't have enough authority to meet Feng Tianlong. He needed Lingshan to bring Lin Yi there, so he wasn't afraid that Lin Yi was a criminal. After all, if Lin Yi really was a bad guy, he would only be able to see Lingshan. He wouldn't even be able to see Feng Tianlong's face. Lin Yi. Lingshan paused when she saw Lin Yi. "Bring me to Feng Tianlong. Xiao Xiao is my girlfriend." Lin Yi looked at Lingshan and said faintly, "Ah." Lingshan paused. She didn't think that Feng Tianlong's daughter, Xiao Xiao, would be Lin Yi's girlfriend. Wasn't Lin Yi's girlfriend Tang Yin? How did it become Xiao Xiao? Lingshan was in a dilemma. If you're looking for a girlfriend, why didn't you look for me? Why did you look for someone else? Am I that bad that I don't even have the right to be your girlfriend? A what? Lin Yi frowned. No, nothing. Lingshan jumped when she saw that Lin Yi was angry. She didn't dare say anything else and quickly brought Lin Yi to Feng Tianlong. But as they walked, she pretended to ask carelessly, "Isn't your girlfriend Tang Yin? How did it become Xiao Xiao?" "She's my small wife." Lin Yi knew that Lingshan would ask about this, but he didn't hide it. It wasn't a secret, and Lingshan didn't know about it before because she didn't care. Now, she just needed to do some research and she'd figure it out. "Small wife? You got yourself another small wife?" Tang Yin agreed. Lingshan couldn't believe it. "Agreed? Why do you have so much to say? What do you want to ask?" Lin Yi glared at her. "Ugh, nothing." Lingshan actually wanted to ask, why couldn't you consider lass first when you're looking for a small wife? But it wasn't a good time to ask that. After all, Xiao Xiao was kidnapped, and it was dangerous. Lin Yi didn't have the mood to talk about love. If she did, she'd probably get scolded by Lin Yi. Feng Tianlong was surrounded by a group of people, but his eyes were always looking around. When he saw Lin Yi and Lingshan walk over, he quickly left the crowd and walked over. The people around Feng Tianlong were all from the investigation department in Songshan. They had already received news that the Red Conk's Death Warriors were at Qianhua Shuiyin District, building A16, the 18th floor. According to the property registration, the entire floor of building A16 was registered under a foreigner's name, and usually no one lived there. Evidently, this was a house that Red Conk had bought a long time ago, just in case. An organized crime group like Red Conk had a lot of trump cards in their hands. It wasn't a surprise that they could buy a house here. Even if they couldn't use it in the end, they could still sell it for a huge sum of money. After all, Qianhua Shuyin's house price had more than doubled compared to when it first opened. Since the investigation was done, Tianlong told the police and the property management to notify the owners of building A16, telling them to leave their rooms temporarily. This building had a bomb installed, and it could explode at any time. Chapter 1234. Let me go. Uncle Feng, how's the situation? Have you confirmed Xiao Xiao's location yet? Lenny didn't bother with small talk after seeing Feng Tianlong and went straight to the point. It's confirmed. The person who kidnapped Xiao Xiao is a death warrior from Red Conscious. He's with Xiao Xiao on the 18th floor of Building A16, but we don't know which unit, Feng Tianlong said. Feng Tianlong said, but this death warrior has already planted explosives in the higher levels, and the remote control for the explosives is placed in his body. It relies on the heartbeat to control the explosion. Once his heart stops beating, the remote control will detonate it. So, there's no other way but to agree to his conditions. He can't die. What if we capture him alive? Lenny frowned. That won't work. There's poison in his mouth. If he commits suicide, the bomb will explode. Feng Tianlong smiled bitterly. Death warriors aren't afraid of death. In their eyes, there's no fear of death. So we can't assassinate them or capture them alive. We haven't come up with a plan yet. We can only wait for the higher-ups to decide if we can release the second head in charge of Red Conscious. I see. Lenny nodded. Uncle Feng, let me go take a look. You? Go take a look? Feng Tianlong paused. Little E, you're going to die if you go now. You can't do anything to him, but if you don't handle it well and anger him, he might take poison to kill himself. Then you and Xiao Xiao will be finished. He won't do that easily. Lenny shrugged and smiled. He'll only choose suicide when there's no hope. As long as there's hope to save the second head in charge, he'll do it. Oh, Feng Tianlong paused. Uncle Feng, there are two types of death warriors. One is forced, and the other is voluntary. Those who were forced obviously wouldn't be sent to carry out this kind of mission. After all, this mission is very important. If there's any mistake, and they fail because of the death warrior's betrayal, the Red Conches will lose more than they gain. Lin analyzed. So, this death warrior is most likely volunteering. Since they were willing to risk their lives for the Red Conch, they had to have undergone strict training and were extremely loyal to the Red Conch. Since that was the case, he would prioritize saving the second-in-command of the Red Conches. This was an honor for someone who was loyal to the Red Conches. So, unless it's absolutely necessary, he won't choose to commit suicide before the mission is over, and we still have a chance. Oh, now that you mention it, it seems to be the case. Feng Tianlong nodded after listening to Lin Yi's analysis. For a fanatic like this man, he would definitely view the life of the second leader as extremely important. This was because only by saving the second leader would he be able to achieve his ultimate goal in life. Whether he died or not was secondary. Because whether he died or not, it wasn't as important as the second leader. This was the reason why he was willing to use his life to exchange for the second leader's life. And Lin, he only dared to try this because he knew what he was thinking. I've dealt with people like this before. Although they don't care about life and death, it's a completely different mentality to die after a successful mission and a failed mission. Lin, he shrugged. So, I'll go up and see if there's a chance. Even so, your analysis is the truth. But it's still too dangerous for you to go up. Feng Tianlong hesitated. Even if you can talk to him peacefully, it won't help other than stalling for time. That's the 18th floor. Even if you want to escape with Xiao Xiao, you'll need some time to get down from the 18th floor, even if it's a jump. That'll be enough time for him to detonate the bomb and blow you and Xiao Xiao into pieces. Trust me, Uncle Feng, I won't do something stupid like that. Lenny smiled confidently. All right, it's decided. I'm going up. Wait, I can't make this decision. I have to report it to the higher-ups. Feng Tianlong naturally didn't want to see Lin Yi go to his death. If Chief Xia agreed to release the second leader of the Red Conches, then Xiao Xiao might be able to escape, but it was only a possibility. Who knew if the Red Conch's men of sacrifice were trustworthy? Would they wait for the second-in-command of the Red Conch to escape before suddenly changing their minds and detonating the bomb to perish together? It wasn't impossible. It was very possible. Because the opponent was a death warrior, they couldn't be judged with common sense. It's fine. If Chief Xia asks, Just say that I went up on my own accord, Lin Yi said faintly. Feng Tianlong wanted to stop him, but he saw the worry in Lin Yi's eyes and didn't stop him. Lin Yi was loyal to his daughter, and this made Feng Tianlong happy and touched. Plus, with Feng Tianlong's understanding of Lin Yi was a brave, smart, and courageous person. He didn't do things on impulse. So, if Lin Yi asked to go up, it meant that Lin Yi had a certain level of confidence. At the very least, he wouldn't do something impulsive and irrational. So, since Lin Yi said so, Feng Tianlong wouldn't stop him. Lin Yi had a very delicate relationship with his organization. Even if Chief Xia knew that Lin Yi went up on his own accord, he wouldn't be able to do anything about it. Ling Shan, on the other hand, frowned as she looked at Lin Yi's departing back, not feeling too good about it. Lin Yi was going to do something so dangerous? Didn't he know they were death warriors? Didn't he know there were explosives in the building? Was Xiao Xiao that important to him that he didn't care about his own life? Would Lin Yi have been able to save him if he'd been the one upstairs? Last time, Lin Yi also went into the tiger's den and saved her from the kidney trafficking company's dungeon. This meant that Lin Yi had a place in his heart. Ling Shan was happy again at the thought. Lin Yi, naturally, didn't know that Ling Shan had these messy thoughts. If he did, Lin Yi wouldn't know whether to laugh or cry. Right now, Lin Yi didn't have much confidence in winning. He could only take it one step at a time. Lin Yi knew that the department wasn't united, and Chief Xia wasn't the only one. There were some things that he couldn't decide, even if he wanted to. Chapter 1235. An unfavorable start looking at Lin Yi's back. Tianlong felt a surge of warmth in his heart. Xiao Xiao's life, meeting Lin Yi at the moment of her death, was really her fortune. With someone like Lin Yi who cared for her and loved her, Xiao Xiao could die with no regrets. This time, Tianlong didn't even know if he'd be able to come back down. Of course, Feng Tianlong could understand Lin Yi's deep feelings for Xiao Xiao. If it wasn't for his wife, Xiao Susu, having a daughter like Xiao Xiao, he would have thought about going to hell with Xiao Susu. But although Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao didn't have a child, the problem was that Lin Yi didn't only have one girlfriend. Lin Yi still had Tang Yun. How could he die with Xiao Xiao? Wouldn't he be letting Tang Yun down? Could it be Lin Yi really had the confidence to win? Feng Tianlong's eyes narrowed. He understood Lin Yi's ability. Without a doubt, he was one of the best in the department. With that thought, Feng Tianlong's heart was filled with hope. He hoped that Lin Yi could bring him a miracle. He dialed Chief Xia's number. Feng Tianlong had to report the news of Lin Yi going up. It didn't matter if he could stop it or not. He had to let the higher-ups know. Tianlong. Chief Xia's voice was heavy. It's me. Chief Xia, what's wrong? Feng Tianlong's heart tightened when he heard that Chief Xia's tone wasn't right. Tianlong, I'm really sorry. No one agreed to release the second head in charge of the Red Conches. The impact of this is too big. We've already notified Interpol about the news of capturing the second head in charge of the Red Conches. If we release him now, we won't be able to explain ourselves. Chief Xia said helplessly, although I said that I'd rather resign and release the second head in charge of the Red Conches. I'm not the only one in charge here. The other people in charge don't agree. I understand your difficulties. It's nothing. Feng Tianlong had already guessed this result. Although he had a good personal relationship with Chief Xia, it didn't mean that he had a good relationship with the others. The other people in charge of the investigation department were all impartial. They wouldn't sacrifice the collective for their own benefits. However, if it was before Lin Yi went up, Feng Tianlong would be in a bad mood because this meant that Xiao Xiao was sentenced to death. But now, Tianlong placed his hopes on Lin Yi. As for whether or not he could release the second head of the Red Conch, Tianlong didn't care. Tianlong, don't think too much. I will send a bomb disposal team to the scene to assist you as soon as possible. When Director Xia said this, he didn't have much confidence. If the man of sacrifice had placed the explosives in his room, then even the best bomb disposal experts would be useless. They couldn't possibly enter his room to defuse the explosives, right? That person directly detonated the explosives. It's fine, Chief Xia. I have something to report to you. Feng Tianlong said. Oh, did something happen on your side? Director Xia asked in a daze. Lin Yi is here, and Lin Yi is alone. He is determined to face the red conch man of sacrifice. Feng Tianlong said. Lin Yi? What? Director Xia paused when he heard this name. You know Lin Yi? Only a few people in the investigation department knew Lin Yi's real name. Lin Yi wasn't a permanent member of the investigation department. He existed as an external helper. His code name was Eagle, and the other people in the department only knew him as Eagle. They didn't know his real name. So when Feng Tianlong said the name Lin Yi, Director Xia was stunned. Yes, Eagle from back then. Feng Tianlong said with certainty. He knew what Director Xia was confused about, but there was no need to hide it. When he met Lin Yi before, he didn't report it to Director Xia because he didn't want to hide anything. You're still in contact with him? You found him this time? Director Xia was shocked. He didn't expect Feng Tianlong to have a personal relationship with Eagle. He's my daughter's boyfriend. Feng Tianlong smiled bitterly. Otherwise, why would he go at such a dangerous time? Director Xia was even more shocked. He is Xiao Xiao's boyfriend? No wonder. No wonder. This world is too small. Yes, that's why Lin Yi insisted on going. I couldn't stop him since he isn't my subordinate, and I can't beat him. Feng Tianlong smiled bitterly. Haha, old Feng, I'm not blaming you. Why are you explaining so much? But with Lin Yi's help, there's a good chance we'll be able to turn the situation around. Chief Xia said. I hope so. Feng Tianlong wasn't in the mood to joke with Director Xia, and said sincerely. After ending the call with Director Xia, Feng Tianlong said to Li Yifeng, Little Li, tell everyone to leave the building and stay a safe distance away. Be on standby. Yes. Li Yifeng nodded and turned to give the order. Since Lin Yi went up, Feng Tianlong had to trust Lin Yi. The people near the building would only burden Lin Yi. Since Feng Tianlong chose to trust Lin Yi, he had to reduce his burden as much as possible so that he could do things without any worries. Sometimes, the more people, the better. Lin Yi didn't choose to climb over the wall. Instead, he took the elevator and went up to the 18th floor. The elevator stopped at the 18th floor, and Lin Yi got out. He observed the two houses outside the elevator. He could see a faint light through the peephole of one of the houses, and the other was pitch black. Lin Yi chose the house with the light and took out some small tools from his pocket. He easily opened the anti-theft door without making a sound. The so-called anti-theft door could only prevent ordinary thieves. If it was a professional like Lin Yi, it would be useless. If it was really that anti-theft, the locksmith companies wouldn't have any business. Although Lin Yi was very careful, the person in the house was also very alert. The moment Lin Yi opened the door, the person spoke. Chapter 1236. Since you're here, don't leave. Lin Yi thought to himself that this guy wasn't a good person after all. He'd been very careful, but while he tried his best not to make any noise, there was still some noise when the door was opened. He tried his best to make it as quiet as possible, but it was inevitable that there would be some noise. It's me, Xiao Xiao's boyfriend. Lin Yi looked at the man calmly. Since he'd been found out, Lin Yi didn't bother putting on an act anymore and spoke frankly. He didn't want to piss this guy off and make him commit suicide. Woo-woo. Xiao Xiao saw Lin Yi come in and was very agitated. She waved her arms and legs, trying to say something, but her arms and legs were tied up. Even if she waved her arms and legs, she could only wiggle on the sofa. Plus, her mouth was gagged, so she could only make noises. The man listened to Lin Yi's self-introduction, confused. This guy wasn't a cop, nor was he from the Supernatural Investigation Department, but Xiao Xiao's boyfriend? And looking at Xiao Xiao's excited and nervous face, this person was most likely acquainted with Xiao Xiao. Just stand there, don't come over, and don't try to do anything to me. I'm telling you, don't even think about using the tranquilizer gun. An unconscious person's heartbeat is different from a normal person's. If my heartbeat slows down to a certain degree, it'll set off the bomb. The man warned as he looked at Lenny. He wasn't trying to scare Lenny, but it was the truth. This was to prevent someone from using the tranquilizer gun on him. The heartbeat of an unconscious or anesthetized person would slow down, and the bomb's remote would be activated as well. Don't worry, I won't do anything. Lenny's face was nervous and worried. I'm just worried about my girlfriend's safety. I don't want anything to happen to her. If anything happens to her, then I won't live either. So when I came up, I was prepared to die with her. Don't worry, I don't have a gun. I'm not a cop. Although I think what you said is probably true, I'm sorry, but I still can't believe you. The man said faintly. There's no news from Feng Tianlong's side, and I'm quite bored. Since you're here, let's play a game? Kaka. As he spoke, the man pulled the towel out of Xiao Xiao's mouth. Xiao Xiao's mouth had been gagged for a long time, and it was very uncomfortable. She took the towel out and started panting heavily. Lenny, honey, what are you doing here? He wants to blow me up. Didn't you get blown up as well? Hurry up and leave. This has nothing to do with you. Don't meddle blindly. Xiao Xiao looked at Lin Yi, touched and angry at the same time. She was touched that Lin Yi treated her so well and didn't abandon her even in such a dangerous situation. But at the same time, Lin Yi didn't only have one girlfriend, he still had Tang Yun. If Lin Yi died with her, what would happen to Tang Yun? And Meng Yao and Yu Shu, Xiao Xiao could tell. She wasn't sure if Meng Yao had feelings for Lin Yi, but Yu Shu definitely did. Lin Yi, on the other hand, shouldered the love of so many girls. If he died, these girls would hate her death. He can't leave anymore. He's here, so he can't leave anymore. The man laughed coldly. What does he think this place is? You think you can come and go as you please? Even if I leave now, I don't believe you'd detonate the bomb. Lin Yi said faintly. Right now, Uncle Feng is negotiating with the higher-ups about releasing your second head in charge. If you detonate the bomb, then your second head in charge won't be released anymore. Lin Yi just wanted to make sure that this death warrior in front of him was the same as he thought. Saving his second head in charge was his first goal. As for whether he died or not, that was secondary. So Lin Yi used leaving as an excuse. In reality, even if he kicked Lin Yi out, Lin Yi wouldn't leave. If Lin Yi left, wouldn't he come here for nothing? But the man didn't know why Lin Yi came here. He didn't think much after hearing Lin Yi's words. He only laughed. Leave? Of course. You're right. My goal this time is to save my second head in charge. As for dying, I'm not afraid of dying, but I have to make sure I can't save him and teach Feng Tianlong and the Bureau a lesson. Then what if I leave? Lin Yi asked. If you leave, I'll take off your wife's clothes and fuck her. In the next few hours, whether Feng Tianlong releases him or not, I'll play with your wife nonstop. I'll fuck her death. The man licked his lips like a pervert and said fiercely. As expected, after hearing the man's words, Lin Yi's face changed. He stood at the door with a dark face. He didn't know whether to leave or stay. Lin Yi, honey, leave. If he really dares to do that, I'll die with him. Don't worry. Xiao Xiao is yours for the rest of her life. She won't give it to anyone else. You still have Tang Yun, sis. Don't listen to him. Xiao Xiao saw the change in Lin Yi's face and thought that Lin Yi wanted to stay. In reality, Xiao Xiao didn't know that Lin Yi's face was purposely put on for the man to see. Lin Yi had to have a good reason to stay, right? If he stayed for no reason, the man would be suspicious. And the man's words gave Lin Yi an excuse to stay. No matter what, he could only act according to the situation if he stayed. Xiao Xiao, I won't leave you. Lin Yi gritted his teeth and said seriously. Lin Yi, honey, don't be so stubborn. And Tang Yun, sis, Meng Yao, and Shu, what about them? You can't die with me. Xiao Xiao was panicking. She kept giving Lin Yi looks. Xiao Xiao knew a little about her father's organization. How could they let people go after capturing them? So Xiao Xiao didn't have much hope in this at all. She didn't want her father to make a mistake because of her. So this time, Xiao Xiao was prepared to die. She didn't have long to live, so she might as well die. They were going to die sooner or later, and it was only a matter of time. Dying early would help lessen the burden on Lin Yi and the others. Let's go, coward. I'll kill her. Wahahaha. The man seemed to enjoy scaring people. Chapter 12:37. You kill yourself. So he was probably saying all this just to mess with Lin. Of course, Lin, he was more than happy to play with him. He'd only have a chance to make a move if he played with him, right? When you do that, aren't you afraid that your heart won't beat evenly and will detonate the bomb? Lenny looked at the man and asked, You don't know, do you? Only when the heart beats too slowly will it detonate. On the other hand, if the heart beats too fast, there's no problem. The man looked at Lin Yi and said proudly, completely shattering Lin Yi's fantasy. You? Lin Yi's face contorted in anger as he glared at the man, speechless. Scared now? Looks like you treat your girlfriend pretty well, huh? The man started laughing. You'll die a horrible death, Lin Yi said with a cold smile. You're too right. There's no way a death warrior can die a horrible death. The man didn't care at all. Kid, now you know how impulsive you were, right? How about it? Not only can't you save your girlfriend, but you can't even leave. You dash. Lin Yi looked at the man angrily, stuck between a rock and a hard place. Xiao Xiao, on the other hand, had calmed down, but she was a little confused. Lin Yi's behavior today was a little unusual, wasn't it? In the past, no matter how dangerous Lin Yi was, he'd always be calm and collected. He wouldn't show such intense emotions. For example, in the car race earlier, Lin Yi was still calm even in such a dangerous situation, but today he got so worked up after being mocked a little. This was different from the Lin Yi she remembered, and so Xiao Xiao started suspecting that Lin Yi was doing this on purpose. Did he have a reason for doing this? At that thought, Xiao Xiao was pretty sure that Lin Yi was doing this on purpose, trying to achieve some sort of goal. If that was the case, Xiao Xiao wouldn't expose Lin Yi, and she wouldn't react differently from before. She'd try her best to cooperate with Lin Yi. Lin Yi, honey, leave. I don't have long to live anyways. It doesn't matter if I die. Don't worry. If he dares touch me, I'll kill him, Xiao Xiao said. Shut up, girl. The man glared at Xiao Xiao, annoyed. This girl was so annoying, always nagging. Go, Lin Yi, honey, go. Don't worry about me. Xiao Xiao didn't listen to the man at all, continuing to scream. You fucking shut up. The man was going crazy, and he grabbed the towel and stuffed it into Xiao Xiao's mouth. Wah! Xiao Xiao let out a series of meaningless noises. It's finally quiet. The man dug his ear with his hand and looked at Lin Yi. All right, kid, we can start our game now. What game? Lin Yi asked. Suicide game. The man's lips curved into a mocking smile as he pulled out a long knife from a bag beside the sofa and kicked it in front of Lin Yi. Suicide game? Lin Yi frowned as he looked at the long saber by his feet and asked in confusion, Brat, don't play dumb with me. Don't think I don't know what you're thinking. The man looked at Lin Yi mockingly and said with a smile, Although your acting is not bad, I didn't believe you from the beginning. Dying on the same day, same month, same year, pledging undying love? That's pretty touching, isn't it? You idiot, do you think I believe you? I'm just playing with you. Lin Yi's face darkened. He underestimated this man's intellect. It seemed like this guy didn't believe him at all. What? Did I see through you? Not talking anymore? The man humphed, pleased with himself. Let me tell you, you're still too young to play this shit in front of me. I believe you when you say you're this girl's boyfriend, but I don't believe you want to die with her. There's so many police down there. How could they let a normal person like you up here? Don't think I don't know who let you up here, and how much responsibility you have to bear. What are you trying to say? Just say it, don't waste my time. Lin, he said coldly. You don't want to listen anymore? But I want to finish. I'd be letting myself down if I don't show off my amazing reasoning skills. The man continued. So the only possibility is that you're a police or a member of the Supernatural Investigation Department, and at the same time, you're this girl's boyfriend. You didn't come up here to die with her. You wanted to take me down. If I guess correctly, you wanted to step forward in an instant and dislocate my lower body, right? So that I couldn't bite the poison and commit suicide? Lin Yi himphed noncommittally. Let me tell you, luckily you didn't do that. Otherwise, you would be dead. The man said proudly, My poison is hidden in the upper part of the mouth. As long as you lick it with your tongue, it will break. It has nothing to do with the teeth. Oomph. Lin, he replied with a cold humph. How about it? You have nothing to say, right? Your little trick is nothing in front of me. The man looked at Lin, contemptuously. Idiot. You want to deal with me? Go practice for another 10 years. Are you done with your nonsense? What do you want to do? Lin, he asked impatiently. I broke your hope. Is it painful? Do you regret coming up? But there is no medicine for regret in this world. It's useless for you to regret. The man looked at Lin, and smiled. How about it? You feel aggrieved, right? Are you done? Lin, he interrupted him. If you have something to say, say it. Since you are so eager to die, then I will fulfill your wish. The man sneered and said with some displeasure, I wanted to let you live a little longer, but you don't cherish this opportunity. Then I can't do anything about it. What do you mean? Lin, he asked. Do you see the long knife on the ground? Now we are playing a suicide game. The man pointed to the long knife in front of Lin, and said, Now you pick it up and then insert it into your heart. Don't tell me you don't know where your heart is. Take off your clothes and stand in front of me and insert it. Insert it from head to toe. Insert it through your heart. You mean you want me to commit suicide? Lin, he asked as he looked at the long knife on the ground. Nonsense. Don't you understand? The man said with some displeasure. You are the one who wants to die. Who can you blame? Chapter 1238. There is nothing to be done. You will do it, the man said faintly. I'm not a suicide warrior. Are you sure you're not mistaken? Although I can't do anything to you, you don't have the right to ask me to do anything, do you? Don't forget, before your second head in charge is released, you won't set off the bomb easily. Lin, he retorted. You're right about this. The man was calm and unruffled as if victory was in his grasp. But can I play with your wife? If you don't do as I say, I'll do it right now. You. Lin Yi's eyes were red as he looked at the man, his eyes almost shooting fire. Don't go too far. So what if I bully you? What do you do to me? The man looked at Lin Yi shamelessly. If you're going to die, hurry up and die. I told you I wanted to play a suicide game, but you didn't understand. Who can you blame? If I knew this was going to happen, I would have just said a few more words. I'll count to 3. Take off your shirt, stand in front of me, and stab the knife into your heart. Otherwise, don't blame me for doing something to your girlfriend. Wah. Xiao Xiao was really panicking now. No matter what Lin Yi's original intentions were, the situation had clearly deviated from its original path. The man clearly wanted to kill Lin Yi, and if Lin Yi really did as the man said, would he be able to live? Would he be able to live with a knife in his heart? How could Xiao Xiao let Lin Yi do something stupid? But she couldn't say a word, and could only make some meaningless noises. Lin Yi took a deep breath and looked up at the man, his face serious. If I do as you say, will you let Xiao Xiao go? Won't touch her? Yes. I'm not a good person, but I have a good reputation. The man nodded. If Uncle Feng releases your second head in charge, will you let Xiao Xiao go and let her leave safely? Lin Yi asked. Of course. The man said, if your people really let second head keeper go, once he is out of danger, he will contact me and I will release Xiao Xiao. Don't worry. Although we are a terrorist organization, we still have credibility. We mean what we say. All right. In that case, I can agree to your request. Lin Yi took a deep breath and looked at Xiao Xiao with a tragic look. A bitter smile appeared on his face. Xiao Xiao, take care. Whoa, whoa, Xiao Xiao was panicking. She tried her best to get the towel out of her mouth, but how could she spit it out? Lin Yi smiled and nodded to Xiao Xiao as he started unbuttoning his shirt. I'm taking off my clothes? Can't it be inserted from the outside? Take it off. I need to see where your heart is. The man was obviously worried about Lin Yi. He was afraid that Lin Yi would play some tricks. Lin Yi didn't say anything and continued to unbutton his shirt. When the last button was undone, Lin Yi took off his shirt, revealing his strong and muscular arms. Kid, I didn't know you had muscles. Looks like I was right. You are the police or someone from the investigation department. The man said proudly. How can a normal person have such strong muscles? Humph. Lenny humphed and didn't say anything else. He just threw his shirt on the ground. Not bad. Looks like you are quite obedient. Now pick up the sword in front of you and end your own life. The man nodded in satisfaction. He didn't say anything else. He silently picked up the sword from the ground and held it in his hand as if he was checking its sharpness. Come closer and kill yourself in front of me. The man ordered Lin. He held the sword and walked closer obediently. Okay, now raise the sword and stab it into your own heart. The man ordered. Remember your promise. Lenny looked at the man and then at Xiao Xiao. Don't worry about that. Hurry up. Don't waste time. I might change my mind. The man's eyes were bloodthirsty. Don't wait until our second in command is out of danger. I choose to blow you up together. Lenny nodded and raised the sword. The tip of the sword was pointed at his own heart. Wait, let me see it clearly. The man signaled Lin Yi not to act rashly. He wanted to check if the position below Lin Yi's sword was his heart. I can still tell where the heart is, Lin Yi said faintly. HM, not bad. It's here. The man nodded, satisfied. Whoa. Xiao Xiao was panicking. She didn't think that Lin Yi would really choose to kill himself. Why would Lin Yi do this? No, absolutely not. She wasn't worth Lin Yi doing so much for her. Xiao Xiao's tears came out of her eyes. She was a girl who didn't cry easily, but at this moment, she couldn't hold back her tears. She was someone who was about to die. How could she be worth Lin Yi doing this? Plus, her motive for getting together with Lin Yi wasn't pure. She dated Lin Yi with the intention of getting back at Lin Yi. She was someone who deserved to be punished, but she dragged Lin Yi down with her. No, absolutely not. But other than the meaningless syllables that came out of Xiao Xiao's mouth, she couldn't say a complete sentence. This scene is very touching, isn't it? The man looked at Xiao Xiao's heartbroken face, and his smile widened. Kid, let's begin. Lin Yi nodded and raised the sword, aiming it at his heart, and stabbed it in. The sword didn't stop. After piercing through Lin Yi's chest, it came out of Lin Yi's back. Just like the man said, Lin Yi used the sword to pierce through his heart. No! Xiao Xiao screamed in her heart. Could it be that this was Lin Yi's plan as well? In her despair, Xiao Xiao had to comfort herself that perhaps this was Lin Yi's plan. He would choose to attack the moment the sword pierced through his body. But seeing the sword pierce through Lin Yi's body, Xiao Xiao lost all hope. Lin Yi really did it. He really chose to kill himself. Why did he do this? Why did he have to do this? Chapter 1239. Taking every possibility into consideration, Lin Yi's body slowly fell forward as the blade pierced into his body. Ha ha! One infatuated kid, this feels so good. The man laughed maniacally as he watched Lin Yi plunge the knife into his own heart. However, his laughter came to an abrupt halt after a few laughs. Not only did his laughter stop, but he realized to his shock that he couldn't close his mouth and his tongue couldn't move. His entire body couldn't move at all. It was as if someone had cast a spell on him. He sat on the sofa, not moving, not even his eyes. His entire nervous system seemed to have malfunctioned, and there wasn't a single part of his body that could move. In front of him, Lin Yi, who was about to fall to the ground, suddenly stood up. The blade was still in Lin Yi's chest, but he wasn't in a rush to pull it out. Instead, he smiled at the man in front of him, looking at him with the same look of disdain as before. He said faintly, "What? You can't move? You can't even kill yourself with poison, can you? Because you can't move your tongue, right? There isn't a single part of your body that can move, right? Isn't that weird?" The man couldn't speak, but from the look of shock in his eyes, Lin Yi had hit the nail on the head. But Lin Yi wasn't in a rush to answer the man's question. He walked over and took the towel out of Xiao Xiao's mouth. Xiao Xiao regained her ability to speak, and the first thing she said was, "Lin Yi, honey, your blade." Ha! Xiao Xiao, your husband won't die that easily. I was the one who lied to this guy. He was playing me, and I was playing him too. Lin Yi looked at the man and said mockingly, Idiot, I'll let you see that I was acting. Didn't you know? If I don't have any skills, if I'm crazy, would I come up here to die? The man's eyes spat out flames as if he wanted to burn Lin to death. However, he couldn't move. He couldn't move at all. You're very angry and nervous right now. Your heart is beating very fast, so the explosives can't go off, Lin said, looking at the man calmly. Phew! The man let out a breath. After hearing Lin Yi's words, he tried his best to calm his emotions and slow down his heartbeat so that he could kill Lin Yi. However, Lin Yi shook his hand, and a silver needle flew into the man's body. The man's heart beat quickly and powerfully. Sorry, I'm a medical student. Lin Yi shrugged and said innocently, this injection of mine is even more effective than a cardiac stimulant. In a short period of time, your heart's function will be abnormally good. The man was about to explode, but he finally understood what Xiao Xiao was feeling. He couldn't move, couldn't speak. Thank you for telling me the location of the poison in your mouth and the secret to activating the remote. Lin Yi smiled. If you didn't tell me yourself, I wouldn't even know how to do it. Now that you've told me everything, it saved me a lot of trouble. Do you regret it? You want to play my wife? Let's see who's playing who now. But there's no medicine for regret in this world. It's useless even if you regret it. Running into someone as strong as my husband is a dead end. Xiao Xiao chimed in, pleased with herself. Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao, one after another, returned all the words the man had said to him. This made the man so angry he was about to explode. Phew! The man spat out another mouthful of air, his eyes filled with rage. Lin Yi ignored him and quickly dug out a small poison sac from the man's mouth. He threw it on the ground and said, You wanted to bite me to death just now, didn't you? But unfortunately, I've sealed your acupuncture points. You can't move. The moment Lin Yi's body fell, a bunch of needles flew out from Lin Yi's hands, piercing right into the man's acupuncture points. The moment Lin Yi fell was the moment the man's nerves were at their most relaxed. At that moment, his mind was filled with the joy of Lin Yi's death, and he temporarily forgot his guard. To the man, a man with his heart pierced through was already a dead man, so it made sense that he wouldn't be on guard. But he never would have thought that there was a long knife in Lin Yi's body, and that the knife had pierced through Lin Yi's heart and his entire chest. But Lin Yi wasn't dead. Not only was he not dead, but he was even able to seal his acupuncture points with needles, and he was still talking and laughing as if nothing had happened. If it weren't for the knife still in Lin Yi's body, the man would have thought it was magic. All right, you can speak now. Lin Yi removed one of the needles, restoring the man's ability to speak. Impossible. This is impossible. Why aren't you dead? The man looked at Lin Yi in disbelief and disbelief, asking the question he wanted to know the most. You're talking about this knife? Lin Yi moved slightly and pulled out the knife from his body, and the wound on Lin Yi's chest not only didn't spurt out blood, but it was also healing at a speed visible to the naked eye. No, impossible. You're not human. The man looked at the changes on Lin Yi's body, and his eyes widened in horror. Was he even human? The wound was healing so quickly. How was that possible? I'm a practitioner, and I'm at the peak of mid-phase mystic division. Lin Yi seemed to think that the man was a little surprised. Of course, I'm a little stronger than other practitioners. I can heal injuries in my body like stabbing my heart with a knife. As long as it's not minced, then I can heal it, no problem at all. So, next time, you should order me to mince my heart. But there won't be a next time. And even if you order me to mince my heart, I'll heal it while I'm mincing it. As long as my healing ability is better, it'll still be fine. You're a monster. The man was completely speechless this time. He'd calculated everything, but he'd neglected Lin Yi's inhuman body. Facing someone like this, it wasn't a waste to lose. But the man said, You don't dare to kill me, but do you dare to kill me? If I die, you'll die too. Oh, I was just about to solve this problem. Lin Yi said faintly, You know too much. In order to keep it a secret, I have to kill you. Chapter 1240. Chapter 1238. Defusing danger. The man's chest was cut open by Lin E, but Lin E wouldn't kill him, because the man's death would cause the remote control in his body to detonate the explosives here. Lin E naturally wouldn't be so reckless. Ouch! The man suddenly screamed in pain. The pain of his chest being cut open was unbearable. He was a man of sacrifice. He wasn't afraid of death, but that didn't mean he wasn't afraid of pain. Do you feel good now? Didn't you want to play a suicide game? Lin E didn't care about the man's screams. He quickly opened the man's chest. This level of surgery was a piece of cake for Lin E. You're not human. The man screamed loudly. He was regretting it now. What kind of suicidal game was this? If he knew that he would suffer like this, he would have killed himself with poison and blown this pervert to death. But now, other than talking, he couldn't even move. How could he talk about suicide? Do you want to die now? Lin E asked calmly. No problem. You'll die as you wish in a while. When I take out the remote control, you can die. The man knew that nothing he said would help. He would only be laughed at by Lin E. So he simply closed his eyes and didn't say a word. Lin E quickly found a remote control for the explosives in the man's chest. The remote control was very sophisticated. It seemed to be the most advanced technology at the moment. It used the pulse around the heart to activate the remote control. Come to think of it, the technology of a famous international criminal organization shouldn't be underestimated. Lin E had heard of the Red Conch before, but he didn't have any dealings with them. Most of Lin Yi's previous missions were the kind where he worked for money. It wasn't surprising that he didn't specifically encounter the Red Conch. But now, this remote control device made Lin Yi's expression a little solemn. If he wanted to make the remote control malfunction, he had to destroy its power supply or transmission device. However, this was not a difficult thing for Lin E. Lin E reached out and grabbed one end of the remote control device. The jade pendant on his chest began to fluctuate. It seemed that this position was dangerous. If Lin E squeezed it, it might detonate the bomb. Lin E changed his position, but the warning from the jade pendant was still there. Lin E was not in a hurry. He changed his position one by one until the jade pendant stopped warning him. Lin E did not hesitate to pinch it. The sound of metal breaking could be heard. Half of the remote was crushed by Lin Yi's palm. This was no problem for a Mystic class master. Taking out the crush part, Lin E carefully checked the inside of it. As expected, it was the wireless transmission device. This part of the circuit was crushed by Lin E. Even if the remote was activated, it would be like a toothless tiger, unable to hurt people. Even if the remote was activated, there would be no danger. Lin E casually pulled the rest of the remote control device from the man's heart. He did not care about his life or death. This kind of man of sacrifice had no value. It was impossible to get any useful information from him. So whether he would die or not, Lin E was not worried. After the remote control device was pulled off, Lin E did not hear any explosion. The danger was completely resolved. Impossible. This is impossible. The man looked at Lin E in shock. He did not think that Lin E would be able to remove the remote so easily without detonating any explosives. Lin E couldn't be bothered to talk to him anymore. He threw the remote on the ground and crushed it with his foot. He then used his knife to cut off the ropes around Xiao Xiao's limbs and body. There wasn't a single trace of sloppiness, and the tip of the knife didn't even touch Xiao Xiao's clothes. Whoa, Lin E honey, you scared me to death. Xiao Xiao rushed over and hugged Lin E as soon as she regained her freedom. Haha, it's fine. I was just playing with this retard. Lin E patted Xiao Xiao's back and comforted her. I knew you weren't stupid enough to kill yourself. Xiao Xiao breathed in relief. But it was really dangerous. I don't have much longer to live. You didn't have to risk your life to save me. Even if you were dead, even if you were a corpse, I would save you. Plus, you're not dead yet. Don't say stupid things in the future. Your illness is fine. I'll think of a way to get a forensic doctor. Lin E said. Okay. Xiao Xiao nodded. After this incident, her confidence in Lin E grew. Perhaps Lin E really did have a way to cure her illness? Come on, let's go downstairs. Your dad's probably getting impatient, Lin E said as he carried Xiao Xiao off his body. Okay. What about this guy? Xiao Xiao pointed at the man on the sofa whose chest was cut open by Lin Yi. Oh, isn't he a man of sacrifice? He's going to die soon, Lin Yi said faintly. Lin Yi knew that this guy didn't have long to live when he removed the remote. The remote was near the heart, and once it was removed, it would definitely damage the heart. This guy would probably die from blood loss soon, but Lin Yi didn't need to heal him. Even if Lin Yi didn't need to spend energy, he wouldn't heal an enemy. This guy's life and death had nothing to do with Lin Yi, and Lin Yi wouldn't have a shred of sympathy. Oh, that's for nothing. Don't be a man of sacrifice in your next life. It's scary. Xiao Xiao waved her hand at the man. The man rolled his eyes and closed them. He knew, and he had a premonition, that his life was coming to an end. At this moment, he felt a sense of panic that he had never felt before. This was a feeling he had never felt since he was raised as a death warrior. For the first time, he didn't want to die, but there was nothing he could do. There was no way Lin Yi could save him. This time, he was going to die for sure. With regret and unwillingness, the man closed his eyes. Lin Yi brought Xiao Xiao downstairs, not even looking back at the man. This guy was just a passerby in Lin Yi's life. When he fell in front of Lin Yi, he didn't even bother to say a word. When Lin Yi held Xiao Xiao's hand and walked out of the door, the police and people from the investigation department were all shocked. Lin Yi really did save Xiao Xiao in a dangerous situation like this, and he did it so calmly, without a hint of panic on his face. Step by step, he walked out of the building. Chapter 1241. Chapter 1239. Lin Yi's suggestion then. How did Lin Yi do it? He controlled the Death Warrior and didn't kill him. But how could Lin Yi guarantee that the Death Warrior wouldn't commit suicide? And now, where was the Death Warrior? These questions formed a chain in everyone's mind, but this wasn't the time to ask. The only thing they could do was to report to their superiors. The police immediately called Lingshan and told her about the situation, and the people from the investigation department immediately reported it to Tianlong. When Lingshan and Feng Tianlong found out that Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao walked out of the building safely, they were both shocked. Lin Yi really did it? Feng Tianlong didn't even bother to say goodbye to Lingshan as he quickly ran towards the A16 building. Captain Feng, you're not taking the car? Li Yifeng didn't expect Feng Tianlong to run and quickly caught up. I'm not driving, it's troublesome. Feng Tianlong said as he ran, I used to be a good member of the investigation department, an ace. My body was quite strong. That's true, Captain Feng. You're a good member now, too. Li Yifeng ran with Feng Tianlong. Lingshan, on the other hand, relaxed after receiving the news. She wasn't in a rush to see Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao anymore. After all, she couldn't show her concern for Lin Yi too obviously. She was relieved now that she knew. Captain Song, we're not going to take a look? Lu Wangli knew about the relationship between Lingshan and Lin Yi, so he asked softly. No need to ask. You take a team and help the investigation department to remove the explosives, then send the refugees back to their homes. Lingshan waved her hand. Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao had just gone through a life and death situation. He probably didn't have time to take care of her, so Lingshan didn't want to join the fun. Seeing Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao appear in front of everyone safely, Feng Tianlong was extremely excited. He quickly ran over, his voice changing. Xiao Xiao, it's great that you're fine. Uncle Feng, I didn't fail you. I brought my wife back safely. Lin Yi looked at the excited Feng Tianlong and joked calmly. Lin Yi rarely called Xiao Xiao wifey or something like that, but he did it a couple of times today. Xiao Xiao blushed a little, but her heart was filled with sweetness. It seemed like Lin Yi was accepting her more and more. Xiao Xiao felt very happy. Haha, you're right. Xiao Xiao is your girlfriend, and it's your duty to protect her. I won't say any unnecessary words of gratitude. Feng Tianlong paused for a moment, but after hearing Lin Yi's words, he laughed out loud and didn't say the words of gratitude that were on the tip of his tongue. You don't have to say it. Lin Yi smiled and said, however, I hope that Uncle Phone can resolve the matter regarding the red conch as soon as possible. I don't want today's incident to happen a second time. That second boss should be killed. If he's dead, then it'll put an end to their thoughts. Feng Tianlong paused and nodded. This was the Lin Yi he knew, decisive and decisive. In this period of time, Feng Tianlong had seen Lin Yi's peaceful side and forgot that Lin Yi used to be a cold-blooded secret agent. Where's the Death Warrior? How is he? Feng Tianlong asked. Dead, I guess. Lin Yi didn't know if the Death Warrior was dead or not, but it was obvious that he wouldn't live for long. Dead? Feng Tianlong paused. Then the remote control device in his body. I took it out and crushed it, so we can remove the explosives without worry. Lin Yi said, Uncle Feng, you won't blame me for making the decision on my own, right? Why would I? Feng Tianlong smiled bitterly. I'm grateful that you were able to solve this problem once and for all. Why would I blame you? If it were me, I wouldn't be able to do anything. If we could kill that Death Warrior, we would have done it already. Of course, Lin Yi honey is amazing, Xiao Xiao said proudly. In the past, when she was young, Xiao Xiao would sometimes worship her father, thinking that he was amazing. But now, that worship had shifted to Lin Yi. Huh. Yeah, if Lin Yi stayed in the department, he'd definitely be more outstanding than me. Feng Tianlong didn't mind and sighed. All right, Uncle Feng, I'll leave the things here to you. Xiao Xiao, you can stay at my house for now. Lin Yi had this idea before, but Xiao Xiao rejected it. But now, it seemed that this was the best solution. Staying with Lin Yi would guarantee Xiao Xiao's safety to the highest degree. Who knew if the red conches would come up with other tricks after this incident? Even if they killed the second head in charge, would they come back for revenge? All of this was hard to say, and so the only thing he could do in the face of unknown danger was to keep the danger to a minimum. Everything was in his hands. That was the only way he could ensure Xiao Xiao's safety. Of course, but Miss Chu. Tianlong was worried about Meng Yao. Tang Yun and Xiao Xiao were close, but that didn't mean Xiao Xiao was close to Meng Yao and the others. It was normal for Tianlong to be worried. Don't worry, Uncle Feng, Yao Yao, Shu, and Xiao Xiao are getting along really well. We went to the beach together a few days ago, Lin Yi said with a smile. I see, then I'm not worried. Tianlong nodded. Xiao Xiao was a little taken aback by Lin Yi's suggestion, but remembering that Lin Yi was doing it for her safety, she could only nod. She was close to Meng Yao and Yu Shu, yes, but she wasn't as close as she was with Tang Yin. Even among friends, Xiao Xiao didn't have much contact with them, so it was natural that she felt awkward staying with them. Lin Yi drove back to House Chu's villa with Xiao Xiao. On the way, Lin Yi called Tang Yin to let her know that he was safe. Yin Yin, it's me, Lin Yi. Tang Yin picked up very quickly. How could she be in the mood to sleep after hearing Meng Yao say that Xiao Xiao was kidnapped? It was really late, but she still waited by the phone for Lin Yi's news. She didn't dare call Lin Yi, afraid that she'd interrupt Lin Yi's rescue. You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.